Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, acting as your lead blocker to fantasy excellence, paving your way to fantasy glory, making all your football-related fantasies come true. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones, on a Thursday afternoon. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. We're trying this time slot again. We did it, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. We did it. We actually got some really good engagement, which was a little bit of a surprise, but a welcome surprise, certainly. And leading into this Steelers-Bengals Thursday night game, which could be intriguing and could just be terrible. Don't know. That's why we watch the games, I guess. We're rearing up, and we got some good fantasy advice for you. We've already got a decent-sized mailbag, so please keep it pouring in as the episode goes on. Wolf, how you doing?
Doing great. As you mentioned, yeah, the 4 o'clock start time worked great. Last week I was away on a trip to the White Mountains with the wife, so apologize for your week 6 Thursday night football if you missed us, but happy to be going again, trying out this new time slot, see if it goes back to back, or maybe it was more of people really need to know Kendrick Bourne. Do I play him? And largely we said yes, which was pretty awesome to watch him then go. I had no clue he was going to go for 140 yards in back-to-back weeks now. Insane. But very great to see him pan out. We've had pretty good luck with our Thursday night calls in general. So hopefully we keep it rolling. We definitely have some – it could be an ugly game, but still, whether it's Chase Brown, do you have to keep playing this guy? Whether it's the Steelers running backs and what that new outlook looks like for these guys, we have plenty to dive into. So I say we get right to it and keep filling that mailbag, folks, and we'll start previewing this game. Truth, who do you like tonight? Steelers, they're getting 5.5 points on the road in Cincinnati, the newly led by Joe Flacco Bengals. The over-under is 43.5. What are you hitting tonight?
This is hard for me. Sometimes like the last one we did together, I felt pretty confident in, and I don't at all in this one. I'm going to be honest. I'm leaning Bengals here. It seems like a decent number of points. And I don't know. I remember, this is how old I am. I'm now like being like, Flacco looked great in that playoff run like 12 years ago. Maybe he's going to pull him through for the Bengals. I do think he's probably an upgrade at quarterback for them. I could really see him involving some of their very real weapons in a way that they haven't been involved yet. And at the end of the day, I just don't believe in the Steelers. I just don't believe in Aaron Rodgers. Maybe I'm just a hater, but I think I'm leaning Bengals to cover here. I could see the Steelers winning in a close one. I could also see the Bengals winning outright, but I think I'm taking the Bengals with the points. How about you?
Yeah, I'm actually fully aligned with you on this one. I mean, they just played the Packers to a very tight game. It ended up being a one-score game. 18-27 was much closer than that, even right down to the final couple drives here. And Flacco wasn't bad. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase got going, 10 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. I know that Browning fed him the week before as well, but certainly just in terms of a pure football competitiveness standpoint,
it matters.
That this was not garbage time getting the points, whereas like Browning, they racked that stuff up when they were down by 3 scores a couple weeks ago. With Flacco in, he kept them competitive the whole game. He almost beat the Packers twice on the season. Remember, he beat them with the Browns. I think they definitely cover the spread 5.5. And like you said, I wouldn't be stunned if they outright win this one, which is insane. I kind of want to roll with it like my confidence league and kind of get a little dirty with it. But I like Joe Flacco. I think they're due. I think this is a nice home game. And like you said, too, I don't buy the Steelers team. I know Rodgers has played lights out all year. And maybe I just am carrying over the bias that New York Jets stink onto Rodgers. I just don't fully buy it myself either. So give me the Bengals with the points. I don't mind the plus, 250 money line, I believe it's at tonight as well.
I don't either.
And I think if they win, it will probably have to require some points. So I do like the over-under.
Me too.
I like the over-under tonight of 43.5. Give me that. Steelers are 3-0 against the spread in their last 3 games, 4-0 against the Bengals across their last 2 seasons. So I get it. It seems like, everything's trending to the Steelers. The Bengals, meanwhile, are 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games as an underdog. So that wouldn't suggest it, but in the under is also 17-3 with Flacco's as a home underdog. These are courtesy of ESPN bets. So just tossing out a couple trends. Of course, every game is different. Every season's different. But it does seem like a lot of trends point towards the Steelers and the under. But we're both going the exact opposite with this, going Bengals and over, baby. It just feels right. Maybe that's what we're wishing for. Maybe we're wish casting. But I do like Flacco. For some reason, I just feel it in my bones tonight.
I do
Flacco's going to have a fun little game. I know you said it was many years ago, that playoff run, but even just a couple seasons ago,
no, I was
2
exaggerating.
years ago is largely removed. But that Browns team was surprisingly competitive with Joe Flacco, and he hasn't looked like that guy this year quite yet. But this is in terms of weaponry, you couldn't ask for a better landing spot for Flacco. He looked, again, like I said, serviceable last week. And I think they could take another step. That was on like the first week of practice. So you got another short week, but another week with the team. Maybe, just maybe, they can pull this one out. So I'm with you. I'm going Bengals tonight.
I think it's so funny, all these trends pointing Steelers and under. And when I came in and I said Bengals, and I didn't say over in my initial thing, although I should have. I also like the over for the same reason you did. It was funny when I made my case for the Bengals. I thought that you were probably going to laugh me off the pod. But then you're like, nope, I'm completely aligned with you. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel it. And of course, if we look at this thing and, it's 24-3 at halftime Steelers, we're not going to be able to be like, man, I'm shocked. Like, it's like, the Bengals
should have known better.
Right. Certainly, like we could know we're crazy 5 minutes into this game, but right now this is what I'm going. I feel okay about it. They have real weapons. They need someone to unlock them. Maybe this is the guy. And if it is, like, they're dangerous, man. They really are.
They really could be. I know we all wished it was Jameis Winston here, as do I. I know I tweeted out like a meme that did pretty well with please, everybody saying, please trade Jameis Winston to the Bengals, and the Bengals saying the best we could do, like those guys, the pawn traders guys, the best we can do is Joe Flacco, them responding to it, which is, essentially what we got. But hey, the best they can do is certainly an upgrade to Jake Browning. It couldn't be worse. We shall see what happens here. Wolfpack, we got over 300 of you first 5 minutes. You love to see that. Thank you so much for showing up right off the jump. We're going to cover a couple quick, like Chase Brown, Jaylen Warren versus Kenny Gainwell, that type of stuff. Some week 7 news to be looking forward to ahead of the weekend. But by the 15, 20-minute mark, we should be at all of your questions. It's a very quick news that we got to hit today. So please do consider hitting that thumbs up button with 350 of you right off the jump. So great to see. Immediate boost would be awesome for that quick thumbs up. And of course, if you need to cut the line, you got to get in and out today, that super chat is a way to do it. Never expected, always appreciated. But thank you again so much for being here, guys. We'll be on to all those questions in a matter of minutes. But as guessing, Chase Brown, sit or start tonight, a guy I was super high on this preseason. Do you have Chase Brown on any teams? I actually dodged him for being so high on him. I didn't end up getting him anywhere.
I don't have him, but in my main league that I do an auction with, I actively pursued him. I got outbid and I just couldn't do it, but I wanted him. I was like, this guy, I was rubbing my hands. He's going to be my secret weapon. Not that secret, but I really believed in him. And man, I'm glad I didn't get any of them.
Yeah, it's been an absolute bust of a season. And of course, Joe Burrow, that's the large factor here because the role has been, at least it started very solid. He had the first 4 weeks of the season, 70+% of the snaps. Everything was looking good. And right now he still does rank running back 7 in opportunity share. He's got 78% of the Bengals opportunities on the season, which is a healthy slice. He's 7th in running back targets with 24 on the year. So the usage has been solid, but it's just so tough to find any real value when, even dating back to last year when he had that crazy stretch run, was the running back 4 in fantasy points per game after he became the starter. A lot of that was touchdowns, and the touchdowns just haven't been there because of no Joe Burrow. That really is a pretty easy conclusion to draw. The concern with me is Samaje Perine is starting to mix in a little bit more. These last 2 weeks, the snap share has only been 54.8 and 57% for Chase Brown here. And if he's not going to be that, when he went on that crazy stretch run last year, he was in on 80% plus of the snaps in pretty much every single game. He touched the ball in 90% of the touches. So as good as 78% touch share might seem, that's actually a step down from what he was doing when he was going bananas. The last 2 games, 11.8 and 8.9 fantasy points. Running back 24 and running back 22, surprisingly, despite those. So the floor is okay. If you need that kind of just running back 2, I'm going to get some volume, I'm going to get some dump-offs from Flacco. Sure, it's okay. But just a concern as well, too, with Flacco last week, only 2 targets, 2 catches, had 49 scoreless yards. Just not great to talk about Chase Brown here. And so the workload's taking a hit. The snap share's taking a hit. I don't consider him a must start. I'd sit him where I can, but I do fully recognize when you have no Bills or Ravens rather this week, Some of you are going to be forced to start him, so do let us know. I see a few good questions on Chase Brown already. We'll certainly conquer and tackle those questions. He's right there at my low-end running back, too. So there's definitely names like I'd start Kamani Vidal, for example, a waiver wire hero this week. Give me the Chargers guy that's coming off a hot game, sure, against the Dolphins. I get it. Everybody destroys them. Rico Dowdle ripped them to shreds. I understand. But ultimately, he's an uninspiring start to me. I still, though, would go him. What about you, Truth? Are you kind of in agreement here with Chase Brown? Do you have any different leanings than what I do?
No, I mean, I do. I am in agreement. What I was going to ask you is do you – I mean, he's clearly like there's definitely people that are looking to get off this guy. Are you a buy low on him right now if someone's because I'm really not is the thing. Like, I mean, obviously there's a price that I would go in for, like maybe someone I just snagged off waivers for like $7 or something like that. Maybe I would take a gamble on Chase Brown, but he's kind of a point with me where I'm just not interested. And obviously I could see having to start him. There's some grim running back situation with injuries and with buys and stuff. I could see him weaseling his way into some lineups, but I'm not trying to be in the Chase Brown business right now. You're not a buy low either?
I don't think so. It's tricky because, again, if we were still seeing those same peripherals of 80% snap share and 90% of the running back touches, and it's just a matter of this offense finding mild footing, okay. But the fact that he is at a less than 60% of the snaps these last few weeks, despite hogging that workload, it really hasn't amounted to much at all. The workload's been small. So, yeah, 77.8% looks good. But when you actually look at the raw number of carries, he's outside the top 25 running backs. The targets have been solid at 7. But, again, 2 targets from Flacco last week. It's a small sample size. We have seen Flacco dink and dunk down the field and then take those big shots. So I'm not fully out because I do think Flacco could reignite this offense. But if I'm buying low, like it's got to be low. Like I got to be really buying low. Right.
It's got to be like
let's say Kenneth Gainwell lights up this horrendous defense tonight of the Bengals, and somebody is just like, I'm done with Chase Brown. He had another bad game, and maybe I can pluck him because the schedule does look okay down the stretch. It doesn't feel great this week or really the rest of the season. So I actually looked at my rankings. Apparently I had him below or rather ahead of Kamani Vidal. I'm going to change that, but I do end up sliding him still above a Steelers running back. And I've gotten this question a couple times today.
Before we
have a super chat. So we'll go to that one first.
Yeah,
Tyler Sperry, thank you so much for that. So we'll cover this, and then we'll talk about Jaylen Warren, Kenny Gainwell. How do they stack up against Chase Brown this week? But what do we got, Tyler Sperry?
Taylor or Arfanian or Barner and Marin overseas or Rashad White? Right.
I honestly don't know who all these names are.
I understood a lot of it, but not all of it.
So I definitely know Taylor, Fannin.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And Kyron. Okay, gotcha. Kyron over. Yeah. So let's tackle the tight end one, and then we can pull back his other question in the mailbag for sure. Sorry, Kyron Williams. I don't like auto. I don't know who the autocorrect is making.
I was like,
out either.
I think autocorrect must be probably Mirren. And when I said it, I was just like, well, I'm going to pretend like I know who this Mirren guy is.
I don't know who sees it.
Overseas. Yeah, help us out, Tyler.
Rashad White's the last one. So let's start with your tight end question, and hopefully by the time we finish that, you can let us know. So just retype the question for the running backs. Kyron, Rashad White, and who else
go for it.
For us? The answer is probably going to be Kyron, though. So let's do that there. In terms of the tight end, Taylor, Fannin, or Barner, I'm very strongly leaning towards Fannin right now.
Me too.
That will assume that, of course, David Njoku's ruled out. He hasn't practiced yet this week. Seems to very well be trending that way. And also, honestly, a phenomenal pickup just because now the rumblings of David Njoku on the trade block are getting louder. This team's not going to – there's like the 2 different ways you can play it in terms of like, oh, we want to showcase Njoku and then trade him, or we also just don't want him to get hurt and then have nothing to play with. Okay, so we got the running back question too. So
when he says in overseas, he meant in London.
Okay, well, that would make more sense. Overseas, that would make a lot of sense.
Thanks, Tyler. That actually makes more sense.
Thank you for clarifying, and a couple people helped try to clarify that for us too. So we'll answer that one as well. But I really, really like Fannin this week, a top 10 tight end for me, getting really, really good volume last week. Dylan Gabriel's really showed this propensity to target his tight ends. In fact, as I look at my rankings, I'm going to bump Fannin over Travis Kelce right now for my tight end 9 spot, despite a great matchup for Kelce. He's also get Rashee Rice back, a lot more target competition. And so I'm really intrigued what this Fannin kid can do in terms of the yards after the catch per reception, those type of efficiency metrics. He's right there in the top 5 tight ends so far on the year. So this guy is doing some really, really special stuff. And the only rub on him was, well, Njoku's also really, really good. Well, if Njoku's removed and this guy's now in every single snap, he really was playing a lot of the snaps, but you're hogging the tight end targets after going 10, 7, 81 last week. I feel great about what he's going to do. He gets Miami, obviously not a good defense against anything this year. So, yeah, I like what Barner's done. He had that big catch and run. He's the tight end 11 on the year. He's done some really nice stuff. Sure, I see the narrative on Taylor where it's like, who else is Fields going to throw to? Well, maybe the dirt, because Fields is absolute garbage. I don't care if you're the number 1 target hog for a QB that can't throw the rock. Give me Fannin. He might be the true number 1 this week. Jerry Jeudy's trash, and might be. I think Fannin is the true number 1 because Jeudy's trash, Tillman's hurt, Njoku's removed. I could see 15 targets going to Fannin this week in a plus matchup. So, yeah, I really love Harold Fannin. It looked like you were nodding in kind of agreement there too, Truth, right?
Yeah, I agreed on the Fannin take. I definitely did. I don't know as much about Barner. I know he's and Tyler said, he's a tight end in Seattle. I hadn't followed him as closely, but just in a vacuum, Fannin's the guy that I would have gone with there, definitely.
Perfect. And so in terms of Kyren Williams overseas,
overseas,
that should have been some confusion for us. But I was like, what player is Seas?
I know.
Who is he talking
about? I'm a little embarrassed that between the two of us, we didn't get that. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Marin overseas, we could have got at least half of that. Marin, I don't know if we ever were getting Kyren, but overseas.
We got none of it.
I think we're going to look back and feel like absolute idiots.
Yeah, but a bunch of the people in the chat got it. So
okay. Yeah, exactly. I still got to go with Kyren, though. Coming off that Baltimore game, played right back into that true bell cow role after we saw Blake Corum fumble. And, I mean, Kyren Williams fumbled 2 weeks ago, and they don't seem to mind when he fumbles. They just completely punish Blake Corum. But at the end of the day, that's all I really care about. Had a solid day, 13 carries, 50 yards. Got into the end zone. Ho-hum always does. 2 catches, 37 yards. He's really – the thing with Kyren this year is he's really upticked that receiving workload more than his career ever in terms of targets per run. He's off – not too long ago, he had that 2 weeks ago, 10 targets, 8 catches, 2 receiving touchdowns, 66 yards, a 30-point day. And he's just really solid as he has been. I believe I saw the stat that over the last 3 seasons, only him and Christian McCaffrey average a top 12 finish in like 75% of their games. So I'm just going to keep riding it. It's a great offense. They're down Puka as well, so they're going to need to lean on the run, I think, a little bit more. Yeah, sure. I really do like what Rachaad White has done these last few weeks as well. You can't deny that he's been very, very solid for fill-in duty with Bucky Irving. Sean Tucker scored a touchdown last week, but he's been a distance afterthought. 14 carries, 17 carries, 30 and 21 receiving yards, running back 7 and running back 10 in back-to-back weeks in half PPR scoring for Rachaad White. He outscored Kyren Williams last week. I just think the track record is so much longer with Kyren Williams. Like I said, again, dating back for 3 years, only him and Christian McCaffrey have averaged more running back 1 starts. So I really, really like Kyren Williams. The matchup against the Jags doesn't scare me at all. I think there could be some decent points. It is overseas. It's the gross London game. But Detroit, that's a pretty good run defense, at least. I think they're going to really get attacked through the air. Mike Evans returning and all that good stuff. I lean Kyren. It is slight, though. I have Kyren at running back 12 and Rachaad White at running back 15. Very close for me. I ultimately just go with the track record of Kyren here. What about you, Truth?
I mean, to me, it wouldn't be as close. It would be very hard for me to sit Kyren here. And sure, yeah, Rachaad White's been good. He has. It would be – I mean, I don't know. Like, if you got to sit one of these guys, you're doing pretty well at running back because they both seem like at least pretty good options. But I wouldn't be able to sit Kyren given the track record, given everything you're talking about for Rachaad White anyway.
Perfect. All right. So we're locked in. Fannin, Kyren, go those 2 guys. Tyler, hey, thank you so much, Tyler. I know you've popped up on these super chats many times. Yeah. You're so kind and generous. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. Sorry we didn't know who C's was.
Yeah, that bulldozer running back sees. You can't bench him by any means. And so back to the topic at hand. We were talking Chase Brown. Do you play him over either Steelers running backs? And quite frankly, I think I would after what we saw last week for these Steelers running backs. And it's kind of crazy how this usage trend. I just want to paint this picture for you guys real quick. How it's swung back to back different weeks. Week 3, Warren was 80% of the snaps, 82% of the carries, true workhorse, didn't really do anything with it, and he hasn't really done much with anything all year. He gets hurt anyways. Gainwell comes in 77% of the snaps, 76% of the carries in that London game, goes bananas in fantasy. 19 carries, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns. They end up winning. He also has 6 catches for 35 yards that game. They get the bye in week 6. Warren comes back and he leads this team, but it's not back at that 80%, 52% of the snaps, 48% of the carries, 42% of the routes compared to 34% of snaps, 26% of carries for Gainwell, who also did have 42% of routes and a 21% target share, 6 catches in that game. And so to me, the other annoying part is Caleb Johnson, who doesn't look good at all. He's been mixing in the 11 snaps in back-to-back weeks, just enough to really be annoying. Those additional 5 to 6 snaps, if they got split in between Warren and Gainwell, that really can add one big receiving or one long run that changes your entire outlook. So if we're talking about a 3-headed nightmare, I don't really want either of these guys. And if we're talking about a 2-headed nightmare, I still don't really want either of them. But the one bugaboo here is they're facing the Bengals, who have given up the most points to running backs, the worst defense against the position, 135 yards on the ground. That's the 4th worst in the league. But then the most receiving touchdowns, top in receptions allowed to backs. When I hear all those numbers, I kind of think of Kenny Gainwell a little bit as the key receiving back here. Again, if he gets 6 targets against this Bengals team, he could really go off. I think I ultimately am happy to play Warren too. I have Warren higher in the rankings. He still is the lead back. This matchup is still just about bulletproof for running backs. Somehow, again, I don't know how the Bengals are allowing more points to the running backs than Miami is.
Because Miami managing it somehow.
Yeah, somehow, some way. That's how bad the Bengals are. And that's why I'm comfortable playing Warren. He's my running back 23. I think I'd put him over Chase Brown. If we're looking at 255-ish% snap guys, give me the guy getting the best matchup versus the Chase Brown matchup, which is the 22nd best matchup. So below the middle of the pack for Chase Brown. But I do think Kenny Gainwell, well, I'm looking at like Travion Henderson, who just can't seem to work his way into the rotation. Ramondre Stevenson, probably a good game flow, but still a little bit risky. I end up being actually -5 ECR. Jaylen Warren, everybody's in love with this week. And so he's at 18. I think that's a little too rich. People are projecting him for the role he's had these last few weeks. So I am -5 ECR on him. Meanwhile, I'm +4 ECR on Gainwell. I think the gap should be reduced between these two. And so I think both are very playable. And despite being lower on Warren than the ECR, I still think he's very playable this week. I just think Kenny Gainwell should be getting a little bit more respect, and Warren should be bumped down just a little bit. He's getting ranked ahead of Kamani Vidal and Travis Etienne and DeAndre Swift even, who just erupted on Monday Night Football. And I just don't buy that at all. I definitely go any of those running backs over Jaylen Warren now that he's locked into this timeshare. That's my read on the backfield. Do you have any other differing opinions, or do you have to play any of these backs? Yeah, where are you at?
I hate stuff like this because I'm sure, or relatively sure, that somebody in the Steelers' backfield is going to put up real points.
Yeah.
And I hate the platoon. I hate the 2-man platoon, and I hate the 3-man platoon even worse.
Yeah.
And I feel like, at least with me, whenever if I'm choosing between guys, it seems like I always pick the wrong guy. It's probably not true. I've probably picked correctly before. I just don't remember those. I think I would probably be stubborn, and I would probably lean into Chase Brown, although it's hard with Pirine now getting the burn. I don't know. Like I said, I feel very confident one of these Steelers guys is going to put up probably top 12 running back points against this Bengals defense. And who are you saying you think you would go with in that situation if you had to pick one of them?
Out of all 3 backs, Chase Brown.
Out of Warren and Gainwell.
I would go Warren. He is still the lead guy. If they get the game script that the Vegas expects, he should be the one bleeding out the clock. Right. If I have to go one, it's definitely Warren. But I don't know. I keep wanting to flip-flop him because of those receiving metrics. Right. The Bengals are so bad against receiving backs, and they really do lean into Gainwell on those situations. I'm betting Gainwell to score a touchdown at +200, much faster than I'm betting Jaylen Warren at -120. So that's how I feel about it.
Okay. I mean, if you're talking value bets, I agree with that completely. But it's hard. It's very difficult. I think you can make a real case. I think one of these guys is going to outscore Chase Brown. I don't know.
I think so too. It is tricky to know who it will be. All 3 backs are somewhat playable, but again, low-end running back too. So let us know. Again, Kamani Vidal, like I said, I'd have above all three of these guys if that helps you kind of measure where they might be. And, of course, all these rankings will be at rotostreetjournal.com. They are already up there, but I'm going to update them as the show goes, as I kind of feel out these vibes for Thursday Night Football. The last quick nugget I got a lot of Tee Higgins questions throughout this week so far. So I just wanted to kind of quickly address him. Had a solid enough target share with Joe Flacco. 8 targets last week, 15.6% target share, 32% air yard share. I think it's a season high, which is, yes, it was a season high, as pathetic as that is, 62 yards. So not great, but again, it's not bad when the new quarterback comes in and you have your season high of yardage. Didn't find the end zone, but was the wide receiver 31-ish. And I just feel it in my gut that they're going to like force feed him in the red zone and try to get Tee Higgins that touchdown tonight. So I do like T. I have him right in line with his ECR, so I'm not going nuts on the guy. But I have him at wide receiver 30, just below Keenan Allen. And so you guys can let me know, again, what your Tee Higgins questions are. But I'm not sitting here like, oh, must bench. I'm not sitting here, must start. I know that kind of an annoying, wishy-washy answer. But I'm far more open to playing him this week than I have been all season since Joe Burrow got hurt. I'll tell you that much. So let us know if you have Tee Higgins questions. I've been about 60% like going yes on Tee Higgins compared to some of these questions I'm getting. But I do have Kendrick Bourne 5 spots higher than him. I have Jordan Addison above him. I have some of these guys that are getting ranked below him. I do have a bit above him. So let us know again if you have Tee Higgins questions. I have him right in line with where he's supposed to go for tonight.
Remember I want to say 2 weeks ago, I feel like we did a Calvin Ridley Tee Higgins comparison and learned that Higgins was actually slightly worse than Calvin Ridley after we had just bashed Calvin Ridley. But I agree. I feel I'm more confident in him now than I was then. That's for sure.
Yes. All righty. And so we do have a couple quick nuggets of news to get through. I know we're already at the 26-minute mark, so we're going to try to rip through this as fast as we can for you folks, starting off with quarterbacks. But yes, almost 800, 700 of you rather with us. That thumbs up button would mean the world to help us continue to get out to more people. We will be getting to those questions in 5-ish plus minutes. I don't think it's going to take too long to go through this. We're just going to rapid fire it. Starting with Kyler Murray. He's limited. It seems like they might be leaning to holding him out again. And Brissett, who filled in, had 320 yards, was significantly better than anything Murray has done this year. His beat Murray's season high by 100 yards. So I think we're all clamoring for Brissett to actually play in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I have a friend who texted me when they announced the Kyler Murray banged up news, and he said, I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like when Kyler Murray's injured, he's happy. Like Kyler Murray's like
plays Call of Duty all day.
Right. He's like, I feel like he's glad when he's injured. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I hear it. Next up, Kyle Shanahan said Brock Purdy, he's got that toe issue. He's going to return to practice as a limited participant. He did re-injure this in week 4, I believe. And they said that, it seems pretty likely they're going to be conservative as far as him coming back. And with that said, nothing's off the table, at least as of now. I think they're playing the Falcons this week.
If he's in, he's my quarterback 17, just below Stafford, Dart, and Stroud to give you guys.
Not like a real starter unless you're desperate.
Not a must start, but he's on some waiver wires and some desperate quarterback situations. You could potentially look there. The last nugget is J.J. McCarthy. He's practicing in limited fashion. They said he's not 100%. They've really, really kept the training wheels on here and played it slow. So if he's not 100%, I imagine we'll get Carson Wentz. And honestly, Carson Wentz is probably an upgrade for your fantasy lineup, at least. He's been feeding Jefferson well. Addison's had some big games with him. I think we're hoping for, which as bad as that is, we're hoping for Carson Wentz on Sunday.
Yeah.
Just like we're hoping for Jacoby Brissett. What a world it is these days, folks.
Right. Up is down, left is right. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk running backs. Pete Carroll says he hopes handling 20-plus carries per game is, quote, unquote, the norm for running back Ashton Genty. I called him Gianti the other week, and the Wolf claimed me for that moving forward. He's definitely gotten a lot more carries the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's starting to put up real running back numbers. I went against him last week in fantasy, and of course he did a pretty good job, was part of the reason I lost. One of many reasons I lost, but he was part of it. What do you think? I mean, it's good to hear the coach say that. I mean, obviously some of that is game script. You can't just give guy 20, 25 carries depending on how the game's going. But, I mean, it's at least on the guy's radar, right?
Which is very nice. I always am baffled by these where, like, Pete Carroll says he hopes to. Well, somebody can control how many times he's touching the rock, and that's the coach. If you hope he's going to get 20 carries a game, make sure you give him 20 carries a game. Like you said, maybe game flow gets him out of it, but then he should, at minimum, 20 touches, right? 10 catches would be awesome for Ashton Jeanty. This guy's a beastly receiver. So good to see. Let's hold yourself to your own words there, Pete Carroll, for sure.
Right. He's not he's not a bystander in this situation. When you and I used to work together at the school, I remember that I was working with a guy one time and he popped in and he was like, so-and-so's happening. Somebody needs to do something about this. And I was just like, you're somebody.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You can control these situations too. Chuba Hubbard returning to practice Wednesday, much to the chagrin of Rico Dowdle, who's gone over 200 yards total in back-to-back weeks. I do expect this still to be Rico Dowdle leads it, but they've already been a report that they love both these backs. When they are both healthy, they want it to be a committee. And so it does take a little bit of a shot. I took Rico Dowdle about 6 spots down. He's down to running back 13 from running back 8 for me this week. I don't think I trust Chuba Hubbard in my lineup. I certainly would play Gainwell, Warren, Chase Brown, some of these other guys we talked about over Hubbard for right now. Definitely a concern, though, Dowdle going from the 2 easiest matchups you could ask for and all the work you could ask for to now a tougher matchup in a split backfield. I don't think we can expect quite what we got. I'm also facing Rico Dowdle, so maybe I'm just speaking into existence that he goes backwards. He might not. He's looked phenomenal. It hasn't been just matchups. He's looked great these last couple games. But I'm a little bit more worried. I'm still probably playing Dowdle where I have him. Again, running back 13. Most likely he's going to be a low-end running back 1. Just a little bit of a worry, though, if you have him.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Cardinals running back Emari Demercado. I don't know if we've talked about him dropping that ball in the end zone since that happened. I do want to talk about that in a minute. But anyway, he didn't practice Wednesday. Running back Bam Knight was limited on Wednesday. His early week participation was promising. But Michael Carter is the backfield's only healthy player. Michael Carter, who spoke into existence that he was going to start the other week and in fact did. Demercado was sidelined on Wednesday. And Knight should be expected to continue playing as the Cardinals' preferred early down rusher in Week 7. But we're going to check out his practice status moving forward. Can I talk to you real quick before just about that Demercado play?
That
was crazy, right?
Yeah, absolutely horrific. You can't do that at the professional level. He was gutted, you could tell, and he hasn't really been at the same since. And I don't know if he ever will be. Like, that is just one of those things that derails a career potentially.
Do you want to know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Jonas Gray.
Yeah. Just sleeping late after going for 200.
The toast of the town. I think he scored 5 touchdowns, and then we just never heard from him again because he was late for a meeting the next day or something like that.
Yeah, at least he accomplished something before he did it. Demercado,
that's true. He at least did get in the end zone. But yeah, it didn't make me feel too good. And I know the guy feels terrible, but still kind of inexcusable.
I'll say this. I just bumped Bam Knight below Kenneth Gainwell. I'm feeling decent about the Gainwell vibes. I know Bam Knight did score that touchdown last week, but Carter was very much involved. They're facing Green Bay. It seems more like a passing script for this team, and that's where Carter would be more heavily involved here. So I do want to bump Carter up just a little bit above RJ Harvey, Haskins, and that. So he's going to slide in right below Pacheco for me, Michael Carter, whereas I bumped down Bam Knight just a couple spots as we talk this through. Rashard Smith, one of my favorite sleepers. He's not practicing because of an illness, but I still think there's a world where he takes over this backfield by the later stretch of the season and looks very explosive on his minimal touches so far. So a guy that I'm still stashing, even if he's going to be out this week, I'm hanging tight to him.
All right, let's talk wide receivers.
Yeah, we got some big names in this one. Yeah,
we do.
This is the good stuff.
This is not your Cardinals running back platoon.
No.
This is Cowboys wide receiver 1. And Brian Schottenheimer says CeeDee Lamb is going to practice this week and he's going to play in Week 7. That is obviously a huge deal. If he's playing, he's a wide receiver 1 under any sort of umbrella, any sort of rubric. This is an absolute alpha wide receiver. George Pickens has certainly been noteworthy in his absence, but CeeDee Lamb is the top dog here. And they're not saying, we think he might come back. He's saying he's coming back.
Yeah, he's expected to play. It is, like you mentioned, George Pickens, the first name you want to think of. In his last 3 games, 29.4, 12.7, 27.3. The wide receiver 1 and 2 in 2 of his 3 games. And all I can think is, if that's CeeDee Lamb, it might be even crazier type of stats. So I know there's a real argument when he is fully healthy that CeeDee Lamb could be the number 1 receiver in fantasy, as good as Buka has been. You look at what Pickens did, and then you think, okay, if you give that to Lamb, that type of volume, this could be, and they look like we predicted this on the preseason truth, where we called them maybe the Bengals of the NFC. The defense was going to be pathetic. They're going to be chasing points. And so I think there's plenty of room. I have right now Lamb at wide receiver 7 and Pickens at wide receiver 8. I think there's plenty of room for both of these guys to be top 10 receivers throughout the season. But it is looking like CeeDee Lamb will be back. And if we fully get that confirmation, I'm probably going to bump him up to wide receiver 2 or 3, like only below maybe Jackson Smith-Njigba and maybe St. Brown. But I don't know. A healthy Pickens on the field, it's tough to not have him in the top 3 for sure. Puka Nacua, a long shot. Speaking of the number 1 receiver entering last week, he is a long shot to play in week 7 after that injury. And so Davante Adams, I'm very intrigued to see what happens with him. He's my wide receiver 5 right now, below only Chase. So I go Njigba, St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Drake London, and Davante Adams. And if you told me you wanted Adams in the top 2, I'd say you have the case for it. So I love Davante Adams, of course, this week. Very excited to see what he can do with Matthew Stafford as the true number 1 in this offense. I do think Jordan Whittington also makes a very intriguing sleeper. So if you guys are desperate for a plug-in, I think he's going to kind of take over that he's not Nacua, no doubt about it, but he is very solid in that kind of catch and run layup style role. Whittington can do that and do it well. We saw it multiple times in his rookie year. So I do like him as well. We do have a super chat, so we'll pause the receiver notes for Mr. Juan Pena. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
good
Juan.
Sir, for the help. Let's talk about what you got here.
He says, who for his wide receiver 2 and 3 in flex spots? We got Burden, Johnson, Kupp, Debo, Quentin Johnston, Addison, Boutte, or Booty, and Bill. Then we've also got Knight, Charbonnet, Gainwell, Henderson. A lot of names there, but we want a 2, a 3, and a flex.
Alrighty. And so, Pena, what I'm going to challenge you to do for future questions, you super chatted me, so I'm not trying to bash you. Try to list them in like the order of how you're considering them, because there's no way you're considering Tez Johnson over Deebo Samuel. You know what I mean? Like, list Deebo first. And I'll say that the 3 that just popped right out to me was Deebo Samuel, Quentin Johnston, and then Bill at the flex. Jordan Addison certainly in that discussion, though. I think you're going Deebo and Quentin if they're both out there and they're both healthy. And if one of them's out, you just roll in Jordan Addison to that 3 spot. And then Bill's going to be the flex no matter what, either way. Try to list those top options first. Like, you're not considering Burden over any of those guys. You could probably cut this down. You're welcome to list them all out if you want, but at least try to put them in order of like what you're thinking. I think Deebo and Quentin Johnson are certainly the top 2 options at wide receiver. I think Krosky Merritt is definitely the top flex option. It just matters if both of those receivers are in. And if one's out, you go to Addison. If both somehow ended up being out for you, just to play like the worst case type of scenario, right, I guess I would go to Burden because I think DJ Moore is going to be out and he's looking really explosive. I'm a huge Burden fan. I think he's going to ultimately prove to be a massive, like, you look at what Ben Johnson did with Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he did nothing his first 5 or 6 games as a rookie and then was the number 2 receiver in fantasy. Like, I don't know if Burden could pull that off, but I think there's a really like small chance, but a chance that he's that talented. I really do love this kid. So I think this could be his coming out party if DJ Moore is out this week. So I do rank them again, Deebo, Quentin Johnson, Addison. And if desperation strikes and you got to get 2 of those backups in, I think Burden would be my next man up. But either way, keep Krosky Merritt in. He's facing Dallas. He's your flex. There's no questions there.
Real quick, Chrono's got a question for us. Start, bench, stash, or cut? Nachos, pizza, coffee, or cookies?
I love that he said, like, we can't say, oh, no, you can't answer this one.
No. He's like, I want to know, and I'm willing to give you a couple bucks to find out. So let's dive into this real quick.
This is really tough, but I think I'm cutting cookies. Maybe nachos. I don't know. I know that I have to have coffee almost every day. Like, but I don't know. I've tried to cut it.
We're already not aligned.
What did you say?
We're not aligned already.
I would say, though, like, you have to keep pizza in there.
Pizza's
like,
number 1.
You can't go without pizza in my life. So I'm going.
Pizza's number 1.
Yeah, pizza's starting.
I'm starting it.
I'd be stashing. Nachos are just like when you get a good thing of nachos, you pull them out back in the lineup, you're stashing them. It's really tough to top. So I got to go pizza, then nachos, then coffee, then cookies in my last. Like, I love a good cookie, don't get me wrong, but I'm far more of a savory guy over sweets. What about you, Truth?
I'm doing pizza, nachos, cookie, coffee, and the reason for that is this. So I need my caffeine, but I'm a little embarrassed to admit this. I've kind of phased out coffee in favor of some of these energy drinks because I need more of a jolt than what coffee can do for me.
Are you doing like Celsius or are you going like Monsters?
More than that. So one of the pairs in my classroom and I both enjoy energy drinks, and we trade ideas. And what I've been recently drinking this one called Bucked Up. Yeah. And
that's got to be healthy for you. I'm sure that's
no.
doing
Listen, is
wonders.
it gonna take years off my life? Absolutely. Am I running, like, am I going strong at 8, 9 in the morning? Yes, very strong. So that's probably where I do it. My wife would completely disagree. Coffee would be first, or at worst second for her. But because of that, because I'm getting my caffeine elsewhere, I would probably cut coffee.
Yeah, there's no real substitute for pizza or not. But nachos, you could sub in mozzarella sticks. So
No,
there are other
nachos.
good apps.
Nachos are so much more versatile.
Yeah,
You put so much
would
stuff
agree
on
with
nachos.
that. I don't know, though. I think I'm re-ranking pizza, coffee, nachos, cookies for me.
That's
I just
fair.
love the taste.
We both agree that pizza is unassailable.
Oh, yeah, that's the only one we fully agree with on this. We're in line with a lot of our fantasy takes, but the food takes is where we start to get a little crazy here.
Ryan, thanks for the super chat. Also, Krana, thanks for the super chat. And I enjoy answering questions like that, frankly. Half PPR, pick 2, Rachaad White, Dowdle, or Warren.
To me, I'm benching Warren here. And if you missed it, Ryan, you could rewind it, but I'll give you the quick summary. Jaylen Warren, after being an 80% snap running back, 80% carry running back in week 3, still doesn't do much with that volume. Hasn't really been near that efficient guy that was a monster for multiple seasons that everybody was clamoring, getting him in there over Najee Harris, myself included, right? I wanted this guy in there to be the featured back, and he just hasn't risen to that occasion. There's some guys that are just much better in a change of pace role. To me, it seems like Warren, because he gets hurt in his first 80% snap game. His first game back after the bye, he's healthy, and he's only in 52% of the snaps, 40% of the carries, the only 2 targets to 6 for Kenny Gainwell. So to me, the other 2, Rachaad White and Rico Dowdle, who probably will be in the committee, Rico Dowdle, this week. Even still, though, how you don't bench a guy that's coming off 2 200-yard total games. No. I still think he's the 1A here. And while I do think Warren is probably the 1A of his backfield too, I think the gap between him and Gainwell is much less than the gap right now between Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. So Rachaad White, the clear featured back. I am going to say, like, he's my favorite of this list. I keep bumping Rico Dowdle down the more. And again, it's probably because I'm facing him. I'm a little biased here. I just dropped him below Rachaad White and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in my rankings. But that's where I'm going to draw the line. He's running back 15 now for me. And still, that's about 7 spots above Jaylen Warren. It's certainly a tier above Jaylen Warren for me. So I'm definitely going White and Dowdle myself. And that's scary with the Bengals matchup on docket here. Like, it's as good of a matchup as you could ask for. Wouldn't shock me at all if Jaylen Warren does go crazy tonight. It would shock me a bit, though, just because I think Gainwell, like, if they both had 15 points, that's probably the more likely outcome to me than Jaylen Warren just going bananas. I don't know. I'm going definitely White and Dowdle myself. What about you, Truth?
I agree.
All right, sweet.
I agree.
All righty. Keeping it nice and easy for us. So we'll rip through the rest of this receiver notes real quickly. Again, now we're getting close to that first 1,000. We've hit 2,000 before on these shows. Would love to do it again. Your help would be imperative for that. So consider, please, that thumbs up, the likes, the shares, the retweets on Twitter, all that stuff really does help us grow so much. And thank you again so much for spending your Thursday pregame with us. We like this earlier spot where we get in before the other pregames, and then you can just parlay this into whatever your next one is. But we'd love to keep you, and we'd love to have you subscribe if you enjoy the content. He should be back for the Bucs, returning to practice this Thursday. They play on Monday night. So, yes, you have to have your backup plans, but your backup plan can easily be Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, Sterling Shepard, whoever Baker's going to throw to. We've already seen it. Like, he's now become that type of quarterback that I don't care who's the weapon. You just want whoever he's thrown to in your lineup. And even with Evans back, all 3 of those guys can be on your streaming radar this week. But certainly Evans, if he's in and he's like the true last man, number 1 starting the year type of guy standing, you got to expect against a banged up Detroit secondary that wasn't even good in the first place that Evans goes bananas this week. So, yeah, you're playing Evans if he's in, but make sure you have that backup plan for Monday Night Football too.
I mean, I need him. Like, I need Evans bad here. And honestly, I would be extremely confident in him going off. I just hate these hamstring injuries. So we'll see what happens.
They took it really slow with him, though. Like, they really dragged him along here. I don't think they're rushing him back by any means. Ibuka now out, Godwin out. I think Evans is just in that blow up type of spot. We get that he's back. Our top 5 guy, is back.
I really hope you're right, and I am cautiously optimistic that you are right. Speaking of guys coming back, Rashee Rice, and they're saying he's expecting a heavy workload in week 7.
Speaking of coming,
right. I mean, and from what it sounds like, it really sounds like there's just like a big buzz around like the Chiefs organization, just like they're just really excited. It's like, we've been waiting for this. So here we go.
Yep, heavy workload in pants for me. I cannot wait to have this guy back. It was the best feeling taking him from the bench and putting him in the wide receiver 1 spot. I have a video that I'm going to be posting tomorrow about Rashee Rice week that hopefully you guys find funny. I'm a nerd and kind of turn something into a Rashee Rice returning video, and you guys can look forward to that on my Twitter page at RotoStreetWolf. If you're a nerd like me, you might have fun with that. But I'm super excited. At the time of his injury last year, this guy was top 10 overall in my rankings. And so I don't see any reason why he won't walk right back in. Sure, Worthy's looked solid. Hollywood Brown's had his moments. Tyquan Thornton, and they're all fine. But this is the king here. This is Rashee Rice. And I think he's going to be right into that 12 target, 8 catch, 90-yard score. I'm the man. I'm back in your wide receiver 1 rankings. I have him at 12 this week. And I wouldn't be shocked if he's number 5 in next week's ranking. I can't wait to see how he looks. That's probably the number 1 story I'm watching this week. And I cannot wait for him to be back. Terry McLaurin could also be returning to the field. He practiced in limited fashion, and also not equally exciting, but quite exciting because he's facing Dallas this week. And Dallas has been, they're allowing 15 points more on average than your typical wide receiver points average as a team. 15 points, like 2 touchdowns worth, is being added to your wide receiver points when you're facing the Dallas Cowboys, when you do adjusted fantasy points allowed. So if he walks right back in and you also have Debo a little bit banged up, this could be the McLaurin. Okay, he's back. He has 2 touchdowns, and now McLaurin's right back into that last year's spot where he was a top 10 guy over the whole season. So a lot of big names potentially coming back this week between Rice, Evans, McLaurin, and, of course, CeeDee Lamb at the top. We have a lot of exciting stuff at receiver this week for sure.
We do. Speaking of guys that are not going to probably be coming back, Garrett Wilson, another top guy. Obviously, he had that MRI last week, and it's not serious, but it does seem like he's going to be missing at least a couple weeks. He didn't practice yesterday. I believe he didn't practice today, and we're not really expecting to see him this week and maybe not next week either.
Yeah, they said it probably a multi-week absence, so don't expect Wilson in there. Hopefully the quarterback situation gets figured out. I guess he had some big games with Fields, but it's ugly for sure. Marvin Harrison, somehow they have a season high in passing yards, 320 yards for Jacoby Brissett, 100 more than the best game of Kyler Murray, and Harrison still does nothing. I mean, it's looking like a real bust, and we were on bust status for this guy all entering this year. He also has a concussion this week. It sounds like he's practicing in limited fashion, so maybe he's out there. And if Brissett's your quarterback, it is more intriguing for the offense. But Zay Jones significantly outproduced this guy last week, so I'm benching Harrison as long. I don't really have Harrison, so I guess I don't have to bench Harrison. But I'm telling you all to bench Harrison, even if he's in. Despite this concussion.
How you just described the Harrison vibe with all those points and yards and stuff, and then Harrison doing that. That's exactly how I felt as a Stephon Diggs owner last week.
Yeah, right as he got going, how is this happening right now?
I was so irritated. I was just like, I was all in on it, and then they scored all those points, and I was just like, all right, definitely, and then nothing.
Brutal.
That's a whole nother conversation. Josh Downs, speaking of concussions, he didn't practice on Wednesday. And I mean, honestly, that's going to share up a lot of targets if he is not able to go this week. And with these concussions, you never can tell. It doesn't seem super encouraging that he's going to be in this week.
No, it does not at all. And he had his first touchdown, like you said, of the year. I streamed him last week. It was huge for me and getting the win, but probably not going to happen this week. And Alec Pierce returning to the lineup there as well. Travis Hunter to be more of a number 1 receiver. Cool. Calvin Ridley also expected to be out. I might rip through these. I realized I put more news on.
Go ahead. There are like 90 wide receiver updates in this.
Yeah, I put way more than I expected to. One that I am very intrigued is the Giants are big game hunting, despite being 2-4. You got Jackson Dart. You don't want this to be a lost year with Malik Neighbors down. Maybe you have Neighbors plus a huge weapon next year and you're really explosive. But Olave, Jalen Waddle, Jacoby Myers, all getting mentioned right there. So maybe we get a move there. And then the Giants continue. I bet you if they could beat the Broncos this week after beating the Eagles and the Chargers, 2 very impressive wins, You beat the Broncos. Maybe you do go all in. We'll find out. DJ Moore
Broncos
also
scored
potentially
13
be on the
points.
trade block, but he's not practicing this week after being hospitalized after that game. Quentin Johnson is practicing. Limited all last week, limited so far this week. You got to see that full status. Jawan Jennings also limited in practice, apparently playing through 5 broken ribs, 2 ankle sprains. Who else knows what's going on with this guy? Certainly respect the toughness, but also don't want that in my fantasy lineup when you're that banged up. Ricky Pearsall on the other side, not going to be practicing this week. Seems likely to be out. I think Kendrick Bourne's the guy I want in my lineup. I'm +5 ECR on him. And Jalen Coker, nice stash, expected to play this week. Would love to get him on my bench. Only 13% rostered right now. Get him in. Jacoby Myers, not participating in practice. Could see him getting held out as potential trade bait as well. His teammate, Brock Bowers, as we get to tight end news, is also not practicing. They have that week 8 bye. I expect both these guys to be held out. So maybe Trey Tucker, a nice little bump up in the rankings. Let us know if you have a Trey Tucker question. And the last 2 tight end notes here are Kittle practicing this week. Hopefully will be activated. I need this man to come back into my lineup. Between him, Rashee Rice, Mike Evans, I'll be feeling so much better if I get these 3 guys inserted back in the lineup. And then as we talked about, Njoku will be likely out this week, still hasn't practiced. So Harold Fannin off that 33% target game, 10 targets, 7 catches, 81 yards against a Dolphins team that's allowing 7.5 targets per game. I really, really like Harold Fannin this week. Whew, there's all our news I wanted to get through because I probably promised the half-hour mark we'd be done. It's 50. We did have a couple super chats that got us in there as well, but we do need to get to our mailbag to help all of you out. And we're at about 950 of you, Wolfpack. Trying to get us over that 1,000 yard and 1,000 viewer mark with that thumbs up, the likes, the shares, the retweets. Let's get to all your questions.
All right, Eric Bugman says, what's up, man? Should I play Gainwell tonight? The flex is Gainwell, Henderson, Tez. Which one? Thank you, sir.
I think I'm going with Gainwell in that matchup. They struggle against the receiving backs, as we said, the most receiving touchdowns, 4, second most receptions. This is a good Gainwell spot. And when I'm looking at those options, Henderson will eventually become that must-start flex, right. I'd like to assume, but They still, no matter how many times Ramondre fumbled, they're still not giving it up. And Tez, very intriguing, but still, if Evans is in, you also have Cameron Johnson and Shepard, and maybe Tez catches that other deep bomb. I love that. I mean, that fingertip grab was insane by him last week. Still, though, very, very boom bust. I think Gainwell's in line for about 12 to 15-ish touches tonight at minimum. And I think he can do some real damage against this pathetic defense. Give me Gainwell.
Yeah, okay. Next up, Jason says, need 2 running backs and 1 flex, half PPR redraft. Mason, Etienne, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, Chase Brown, Pollard, Diggs, and Judy. Thank you. 2 running backs, 1 flex.
I think I got to stick with Etienne here. I know the efficiency is going down, but the workload is still very, very good for him. I'm down on Kenneth Walker. As much as I like this guy entering the year, and as talented as he is, he looks phenomenal out there. A tough Houston matchup, and Charbonnet just the ultimate goal line vulture right now. So I think I'm going Etienne and Mason there for the 2 running backs coming in against Philly. That looks good on paper, but they've been getting destroyed. Scatterbo just put up 30 points against this team. So I like Etienne. I like Mason there. And then for the flex, it comes down to Diggs versus maybe Chase Brown for me. He'd be the next running back up for me. I got to go with Diggs. I know you're soured on him. I know he had that, as you said, everybody having points but Diggs. That's very frustrating to see. But he had 2 weeks in a row where it's like, okay, he's now the true alpha. I'm not going to let one bad week kind of completely ruin those vibes. I like the matchup for him against Tennessee. I think he can destroy that secondary. So give me Mason, Etienne, and Diggs. But how sour are you on Diggs? Would you consider?
I'm not sour. I'm going to keep, but so I'm irritated. I don't know if I'm soured on him moving forward. I'm in a bit of a position where, out of necessity, I got to keep rolling the guy out. And everything tells me like it's there. He's a great receiver. He's got a great young quarterback. There should be the opportunities there. So I'm rolling him back out if I got him this week.
Perfect. All right, so you go him over Chase Brown?
Yeah, I would. I don't. Chase Brown's got to give me a reason to put him out there, and I haven't seen it for quite.
Right, at least 2 of the last 3 from Diggs has been like, wow, this guy's a monster. Whereas Chase Brown hasn't done that a single time this year.
No, so, I would go Diggs over Brown, and I'm cringing a little bit, but I'm not necessarily worried that Chase Brown's going to blow up and make me pay.
You said you're facing him this week or no?
No. I'm not facing him. I have Diggs, and I'm not facing Brown. I wish I was facing Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Ross says, "Hey Wolf, should I start Tajay Spears, Chase Brown, or Michael Carter in the flex spot?"
I think this is one where it is Chase Brown. Flacco bring a little more stability to the offense. Despite, again, the snaps. We talked about it at the top of the show, Ross H. It looks like you were here for that top of the show. So you've already heard it. The snap share has gone down to under 60 in back-to-back games. He's still been the running back 22 and 21 despite these low outputs. The floor seems okay, and I feel like the ceiling can only go up with Flacco from here. So when you're talking about Tajay Spears, Michael Carter, two rotational backs, give me the lead back. Give me Chase Brown there.
All right, that's fair. Grana, Wolf Truth, you're the coach. And you get to pick 5 current players, 2 wide receivers, tight end, running backs, quarterbacks. But your first wide receiver is elite. Second is a backup, such as that guy whose name I can't ever pronounce, but I know.
Yoshivats.
Yeah, I know who he's talking about. I just can't say it. Tight end, running back can be anyone you want. The quarterback must be a backup. Good luck. Do you want to go through the questions and come back to that one at the end?
Because I think so. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to recommend. Let's get through the rest of the mailbag because that's a fun one.
I actually do want to think about it, but I could see us sinking 5 minutes into that one. So
exactly, and I need to think a little bit on it too. But I like that question a lot, Krana. Very interesting. But let's get like you said, we could riff on that for like 15 minutes, and then everyone's just pissed off. So let's not do that.
We'll come back to it.
Over 1,000 right now, by the way. Remember, rotostreetjournal.com is where all these rankings are, and the thumbs up really help us out.
All right, Krana coming with some less hypothetical football questions. T-Mac, Ladd, or Bourne, PPR, Dowdle, Vidal, or Gainwell, PPR, and then Dak or Goff. That's a 6-point passing touchdown lead.
You got to go Dowdle over those other 2 running backs. And I do like Vidal a lot. And I like Gainwell fine. But Dowdle, after these 2 weeks, neither of those other 2 backs are good enough right now for me to bench Dowdle, despite Chuba Hubbard returning to the lineup. In terms of the wide receiver question, that does get trickier. You got Tet coming off his first NFL touchdown, 2 of them nonetheless, and you get a Jet secondary that really is not close to what it was. I think this does come down to, does Quentin Johnston play or not? Because if Quentin Johnston's out, I'm bumping Ladd back into like the top 15 wide receivers. He looked phenomenal, but I do think that was a product of Quentin Johnston. I know they play different roles, but QJ was the target leader entering last week, and you remove him and Ladd steps right back up. I do think I go Tet, assuming Quentin Johnston's in. I go Ladd if Quentin Johnston's out. And I do really like Bourne this week, but he's like the distant third to me. I do like Bourne a lot, yeah. I guess if Juwan Jennings did get ruled out and Pearsall's looking like he's going to be ruled out, maybe this comes even closer. But to me, I think I'm going to roll McMillan or Ladd. It all just depends on Quentin Johnston's status there.
I actually really like all these guys. Like I said, Ladd depends a lot on QJ, but I think I'm going for Tet in this one.
Yeah, and for the quarterback, you got to go Dak. I mean, he's playing at MVP level. Washington defense, not good at all. Shootout style narrative. You get CD back, and Dak's been over 22 points because I've actually had to fill in for Lamar these last 3 weeks, and Dak it's as if I didn't miss Lamar at all because he's been so good throughout these last 3 games, and he hasn't even had CD Lamb for that stretch. So give me Dak over Goff for that one.
We got a quick super chat here from Phil. Thank you
Phil.
very much for that. Chase Brown or Jordan Mason, PPR?
Give me Jordan Mason. Again, the Philly defense seems to be a bit overrated against the run. We've seen Javonte pummel him. We just saw Cam Scatteraboo pummel this defense. These touchdown scorers have been very solid against them. And so I like Mason to get in the end zone at least once, if not twice. So I like Jordan Mason there. You're looking at 2 timeshare backs, shockingly, with Chase Brown. I know the opportunities against 77%, but only 57% of the snaps, and hasn't really topped the top 20 running backs in a long time, whereas we've seen Mason put up some really big games as the starter there. I like Mason. What about you?
It's hard to pick Brown over anybody that seems like they've got upside right now. So, yeah, I'm agreeing. In agreement with you on that.
Let's go.
All right, next up, Krana has got one here.
Yeah, we got right here. Krana, need a QB, 6 pass.
Stafford, Murray, if he plays, Rodgers, Penix, Scatterbo, Bill, Judkins, pick 2, PPR.
So for the running backs, let's get that one out of the way. You're not benching Scatterbo after a 30-point day.
You can never bench Scatterbo
tough
again.
defense, sure, against the Broncos, but you're playing him. And then Judkins gets Miami. And, I mean, we saw Vidal just go for nearly 150 total yards against Miami. We saw Dowdle destroy them. So to me, that's definitely Scatterbo, Judkins. And Bill does get Dallas. So I understand that, this is you don't want him on the bench, but between those 3, he's my least favorite option of the 3. So Scatterbo, Judkins for me. Any disagreement there before the quarterbacks?
No, I don't have any disagreement with you on that. Scatterbo is a must start until further notice.
Yeah. In terms of the quarterback, backs like Stafford without Puka worries me somewhat. But I don't know. You got Devontae Adams still. You got fine enough weaponry. I think he's probably the play. I mean, Rodgers tonight does, as much as I hate to say it, intrigue me. It's the Bengals defense, less about Rodgers, who is playing at a very good level. But the worry with him is that they get up and they just run, and run some more. So I don't think Rodgers is a must play. Penix doesn't do a ton for me. Murray, I hate Murray. I keep landing on Stafford for this one. What about you?
I like Stafford too. I can't help it. Stafford has an in with me, like probably for the rest of his career. Yeah. So I have an unfair bias towards him.
And it's one of those things too, where like I even when he wasn't great in fantasy the last couple of years, like he still has the arm talent that's top 5.
He's a very talented quarterback.
And then this year, last week 9.3, not amazing, but 27 and 25 the week before that, like he's kind of back to that fantasy juggernaut QB. Will he do it without Puka? Maybe not. But none of the other options are intriguing enough for me to bench for him. Rodgers being the next closest, though, if you really don't trust Stafford without Puka. But I like Stafford there. Yeah, we're in agreement.
Cool. Krana, again, flex PPR, Higgins, Dobbs, Shaheed. Flex, you got some, right. Flex PPR, Henderson, Whittington, if no Puka, and Otten. Finally, Judy or Keenan Allen PPR. Thanks, boys.
That's a really tough receiver question.
I was just thinking that myself.
Like Dobbs is seeming kind of tough to bench right now. 3 touchdowns, before their bye, comes back and is like the clear number 1 once again. Arizona, a very weak secondary.
And Higgins has shown nothing. We think he's maybe on the upswing, but we haven't actually seen it. So
Higgins did outscore Dobbs last week, though.
Last week he did, yeah.
Part of this is like kind of like, do you want to give yourself some Thursday night fun? Like,
I'd probably go Higgins.
I kind of like Higgins today. I put him in my touchdown parlay. I'm bumping him. I checked my rankings. I had Dobbs 30 or 29 and Higgins 30. I'm going to switch those and then ultimately go Higgins tonight. Let's go for it. In terms of the flex, Henderson, Whittington, if no Puka, or Otten, I got to go with Whittington, no Puka there. Otten does intrigue me too. With that banged up crew, but Evans back does change the narrative there. And then Judy or Keenan Allen, it's never Judy. I never say yes to Judy.
I was going to say it's never Judy. I agree.
And what has he done this year to even warrant that conversation? Give me Keenan Allen 10 out of 10 times. He's been way better all year. Great matchup as well against a indie team losing like its top 4 corners right now. So give me Keenan Allen, give me Whittington, and give me Higgins, Krana.
Agree. Okay, Giuseppe. Wolfpack just made a trade today. I got DK Metcalf and Tracy for Nick Chubb and Rashad White. Did I win? PPR.
I think you won. I think Tracy's useless. I'd cut him, honestly, if I'm you. Like, he does nothing to me. So it really becomes down to DK Metcalf for Chubb and Rashad White. I think, this week, DK versus Rashad, I'd probably take Rashad. But season long, DK significantly higher upside. And even this week, like, I meant to say the injury notes. We forgot to talk about Calvin Austin's ruled out last week. That resulted in 9 targets for DK Metcalf and 1 target for the entire rest of the Steelers pass catching core for the wide receivers there. So DK became a target hog last week. I love DK this week, a top 15 wide receiver, just like Rashad White's a top 15 running back this week. But once Bucky Irving's back, Rashad White takes the backseat. Nick Chubb, pretty useless to me. So it becomes down to like DK for Chubb and Rashad White, and I still think you win that trade, in my opinion. Do you agree with that, Truth?
I do. It's a type of thing where it's like maybe in a vacuum right this second, you might give yourself pause. But if you can afford to go any sort of big picture, long-term view, I think DK is clearly the guy.
Yeah, perfect.
Rodgers, Fields, or Brissett?
Ugly as it was last week, I'm going to go back to Fields. I know he's without Garrett Wilson. Who the hell is he going to throw to? I don't really know. But he's facing Carolina, who you can run all over, and that's why we're starting Fields in the first place. So I think we get one of those like 70 to 100-yard rushing days out of Fields. He runs in for a score, maybe 2. And you're talking about Rodgers or Brissett as the other options. Like, I'm just going to go with the upside and hope that Fields has one of those huge games.
I mean, I look at Rodgers and I can't stand the guy. It's tempting, but with the Fields upside as far as running, I don't know how you could go against Fields here.
Yeah, I'm just checking Rodgers' game log because we've had a couple questions on him. And yeah, he is good at ball, like real life ball as he's playing. Quarterback 24, 23, and 16.
Right.
What are we, it's great real life ball, but it's Arthur Smith's run game, like dominating offense. it just doesn't move the needle much, even in a great matchup against Cincinnati, in my opinion.
Agree. All right, we got another super chat. Thanks,
Mia and Levi. What's going on, Levi C? This guy's a legend. You guys
are bringing the super chats. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Levi says, Mia and Levi here. PPR and 5 bonus points for 40-plus yard plays. Oh, wow. Need 1 running back, Monty or Henderson. Need 2 at flex between Dobbs, Addison, Devontae Smith. Thanks. So we need 1 running back, and then we need 2 at flex. And we got 3 to choose from at flex. So first, Monty or Henderson. I would definitely go Monty. I mean,
I would too. And I know his role has been sketchy lately. I know Sunday Night Football was like, what happened to this guy? Should have had a throwing touchdown. That was such a sick play that they took off the board. You remember that pass to Jared Goff to open? Of
course, I remember it. Yeah,
brutal. I saw a guy too post that he had a $150 bet on Jared Goff to score the first touchdown, and like would have won. I think it was 150 to win like 14K, and then just gets that ripped out of his hands. Oh, that must have been a heartbreaker. For sure. But yeah, I know the usage was sketchy last week on Montgomery, but the usage has been sketchy all year for Henderson. And at least Monty, when he gets used, it's in the red area. It's where you're getting those green zone touches. In a game against the Bucs, I mean, that defense is abysmal. And so that's where Monty really gets his opportunities. You could be talking about a 2-touchdown day. So give me Monty there. The 2 receivers are tough and need 2 at flex between Dobbs, Addison, and Devonta. I'm going to go with Dobbs and Addison, though, especially with the big play addition here. You get 5 points for 40-plus yard plays. That's Addison's wheelhouse. I have him the highest anyways, but I'd especially elevate him in this big yard bonus. And Dobbs does some damage down the field at times, too. I guess Devonta Smith can as well, but I don't know. I just hate trusting any Eagles wide receivers. Minnesota's giving up the fewest points to the wide receiver position as well this year. I'm going to go with Dobbs and Addison and Monty for this one. And what's up, Mia and Levi, 2 legends there. And I think those are both I forget his name. He told me in the chat. But Levi and Mia are the kids for him. And they're also legends, Levi and Mia. So what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We'll try to watch our language, make sure we say no bad words. I don't think we have tonight anyways. So
I don't think actually we've dropped 1 bad word.
We've been pretty good about the no explicitives these last couple episodes, Truth.
It's not, at least on my part, it's not on purpose, but I'm glad that it's a game flow type thing. And I haven't been
Dobbs and Addison, or what do you think on that one?
No, I agree with you. To me, the thing that's funny about that is just how far Devontae Smith's stock has fallen for me. Yeah. Because, man, it was not that long ago that I was just all about this guy. It was kind of like one of those 1A, 1B with Chase and Higgins, you know. I felt like he was kind of part of one of those, and now it's like I don't feel that way at all. But, yeah, I agree with your picks.
Perfect. All righty. We left off, I believe. We have a pretty good mailbag. I like to see it.
We really do. Tyler, here we go.
Yeah.
Start Chase Brown or Spears or Jamo or Travion.
Not Spears or Travion for me. So it comes down to Jamo versus Brown. And honestly, a Monday Night Football shootout sounds a lot better than a Thursday Night Football potential clunker tonight. And Jamo, that big game last week, hopefully that kind of reignites his season. I got to go with Jamo on this one over Chase Brown. What do you think?
My instinct is to lean Chase Brown, but it's like kind of like if you woke me up in the middle of the night and shook me awake and said, hey, Chase Brown or Jamo, I would say Chase Brown. But then if you forced me to actually look at things, I could see myself going the other way. That's a tough call for me, honestly. I might be stubborn to the point where I spent so much on Chase Brown that I would just feel obligated to keep wheeling him out. But, yeah, I mean, if you have the courage of your convictions, Jamo's probably the smarter move.
He's certainly the riskier pick. Like Chase Brown, you know you're going to get.
Yeah, you could get 1 catch for 6 yards from Jamo.
Exactly. You know? And so that does, Tyler, where you don't want to hedge on your answer, but it is one of those situations where, like, let's say you're a 30-point favorite and you just want like 8 to 10 points. Yeah, Chase Brown's going to get that for you. You need a little bit more juice. You're a 10-point underdog. Then you go with Jamo and you fire it up. I'd probably go Jamo 8 out of 10 times on this one, though. My knee-jerk reaction was Chase Brown. I won't lie.
Okay.
But I was just like Jamo against Tampa Bay, who's been giving up big play after big play. Like that feels nice.
Yeah, you summed that up better than I did, but that's exactly how I feel. Toon said Stafford or Rodgers. His starter's on a bye. I like how Toon's put in their starter on a bye just so we wouldn't flame him for those being his quarterback
Yeah.
options. It's all right, man. We get it.
I like Stafford there. We had this one earlier, and I
Me
still
too.
am sticking with Stafford, despite the good matchup. Again, the ceiling for Rodgers, he had that QB7 week 1, but hasn't been inside the top 15 quarterbacks since. I'm just going to keep lighting it up with Stafford, even without Puka.
Agree. Jay, 1364. Hey, guys, how's it going? It's going good, man. Thanks for asking.
Great. Thank you, Jay. Good to see you, brother.
Terry Jackson, trade away CD for Bill.
No. And I'm a huge Bill guy, but come on. We're talking
No
CD as a
way.
potential top 5 guy the rest of the year. Bill may be a fringe top 30 guy. Like CD Lamb, no way in any world would I give him up for Bill. No way.
Right. Right. Unless like something got cut off the question or something like that. Definitely not.
No.
And then Ladd or Javante straight up.
That one does come down to team need, but if I could only pick one for my roster, it's Javante, which is crazy to say. Like I was out on him all the offseason. I'll admit it. I was a Jade on Blue guy. Javante has proven me wrong. He looks explosive. He's running hard. He's scoring every week. This offense needs points, and he's getting it to him. So I like Javante.
Javante is a must start until further notice. He just is.
Yes. And I would rather have him on my team than Ladd, too, if it's a trade.
No, yeah, me too. Tongs, Taylor, Engram, Jacoby Meyer, I'm assuming they're talking about, and
Michael Mayer, I think, is actually
who?
Would be. The Halloween guy, Michael Mayer.
Oh, okay. I got you.
For Brock Bowers.
Or Jonnu. I thought that was Jacoby. Go ahead.
Yeah, assuming – so this one does – again, there's a lot of injury contingency to this one. It seems like Bowers is trending out and Kittle's trending in. So let's say that's how it plays out. I go Michael Mayer. Touchdown last week. He's a really talented guy. If he wasn't on the Raiders, there's a chance, like, and in many situations, he'd be a top 12 tight end in fantasy. And this week, as the clear Raiders guy, with Jacoby Myers probably out, I like Michael Mayer here. If Kittle's out, Tonjes gets close, but I still think assuming Bowers is out, Mayer's going to be the top option no matter who else is in. So I go Michael Mayer here.
Okay. Giuseppe, start Fannin or Jake Ferguson, half PPR.
Oh, come on, Giuseppe. You're talking about the number one tight end.
I was going to say, have I missed something here? Because it's rare where I see one of these and I'm just like, isn't one of these guys like literally the top guy?
He is, and it's Jake Ferguson. He's my number one tight end this week. I love Harold Fannin. I've already raved about him on the show multiple times, but it's not even close. It's Jake Ferguson.
You can't.
Like you're insulting Ferguson right now, Giuseppe, to even think about this question. Terrible. Come on, Giuseppe. Be better.
Do better, Giuseppe. All right,
do better, Giuseppe.
Austin says I have both Chase Brown and Tee Higgins. Who's the better start? Wow.
Oh, man.
It's PPR. If that matters.
I would probably go Chase Brown. I know Tee Higgins does have the higher ceiling, and especially with that PPR setting, yardage, season high with Joe Flacco last week. But I don't know, Chase Brown. You're getting 15-ish touches. Probably the better bet to score the touchdown as well. I feel they both have. I think they have similar ceilings, but Chase Brown's floor is just a little.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that Tee Higgins has like a higher ceiling. I mean, I think they both have fairly high ceilings. It's just we are not seeing them much. But I agree that Brown has a better floor.
Yeah.
So I think they both have high ceilings that have been unrealized up to this point.
Yes.
Tunes, Dak or May? Here we go.
I'm going Drake May. I mean,
I know you
Homer and me.
I know you are.
It's my quarterback 3 and quarterback 4, so you couldn't get him any closer. I have to start Dak in fantasy. Gun to my head, would I actually bench Dak for May? I don't know, but I'm going to go.
You were going to say May.
Drake May is too good. Like those throws he was making, plus the rushing upside. You can't put this guy on your bench. I guess Tennessee, they should just put point up. Vrabel's going to want to pile it on this former team. Like that's the other thing here is I could see them winning by 30 and just Drake May adding to his rep stats all day. I'm going with Drake May. What about you, Drew?
Your argument is compelling. I think it would be hard for me to not go Dak here.
Yeah.
But I definitely like what I see out of May, and the Vrabel piece is not something I'd really considered, but it's real.
It's very real.
Toon said full PPR, sit 1, Higgins, AJ Brown, or Dowdle. Who you sitting? I'm sitting Higgins.
Higgins easy. Yeah, Higgins easy. Yeah. We're in
Otten, Pitts, Ingram, pick one.
Otten.
Sad that you can only pick one. You'd love to start all 3.
Yeah. Oh God. Pretty gross. But with the banged up situation, On's had 2 good back-to-back weeks. And we've seen it, like when they're down weapons, like there was a 4-game stretch last year where Ott was the tight end one, was
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
focal point of
he
the
was.
offense. He's not that right now, and Evan should be back, but even still, Otten over these other 2, yeah.
Kind of want to, this is Krana again, kind of want to lean towards Browns over Steelers defense tonight, since I do feel Flacco gives them a game tonight. Thoughts? I don't necessarily think the Steelers defense is a great play. I don't know. I mean, we both kind of semi like the Bengals straight up in this game.
I do. And even still, like there's a very real world where Flacco throws a pick 6 tonight, or they give
A
him the
pick
most
6.
points.
There's a real world where he throws 3 pick 6s.
Yes, exactly. And so I still roll with the Steelers. I mean, their last they've I don't know. That's a really tough one, Krana. I have the Steelers higher because I just don't like the Browns defense that much. And Miami, sure, it's a fine matchup, but Miami can put up their points. So I like the Steelers tonight. I think you have a better upside play tonight.
Toon said, would you sit Kamara, Bill, or Stevenson for Pittman or Boutte in half PPR?
Yeah, I play Pittman, especially with Downs out. Who do I sit? It's Stevenson. I would go. Yeah, I play Pittman, Bill, and Kamara in that situation.
That's fair. Toon says Stafford or Love.
Probably Jordan Love on that one. Arizona, not a great secondary. Good offense. I'll keep riding Love.
I'd probably lean Love, but I'm not crazy about that pick. Like I don't feel great about it. Droid 209, start 1 QB and 1 flex. Danny Dimes, A-Rod, Dart, and then we got JK, T, Rico, Shaheed, and Bourne. One of each.
I'm going to go Danny Dimes for the quarterback there. He's been cooking all year. It has been kind of, if he rushes in a touchdown, he gets 20 more points. And if he doesn't, he scores like 15 or less. So it has been a little bit polarizing, but in half the games he has a touchdown, half he doesn't rushing. I think he gets into the end zone again. Chargers, that should be a fun game. I think that one is solid. And A-Rod, I do like Dart. He's looked really solid, but I have Daniel Jones 2 spots above Dart in my rankings. And I feel, Denver defense, if this was a tougher, or rather an easier matchup, I might really, hammer the table for Dart. But this week especially, I'd rather have Dimes against the Chargers. So I'll go with him. And I feel like despite the down week, you got to keep riding J.K. Dobbins here, right?
I would ride Dobbins. I was a little disappointed with what I saw yesterday, or not yesterday, this week, as far as the 13-11 disgusting game between the Jets and the Broncos. But yeah, I'd keep rolling him out, even though Dowdle is intriguing.
On the move answer too. I like it.
I got a dog that likes to be let out and then let back in, and it drives me crazy. She's a good dog, but that's my least favorite thing about her.
There you go. So yeah, we're going J.K. Dobbins there. I will say though, if Jennings and Pearsall are out, the Bourne's the closest for me here, and it is a real question here. And especially if it's full PPR, that gap gets even closer. Droid, I don't know. Bourne does very much intrigue me. So
Bourne intrigues me too, especially after we talked him up, and then you, as much as you talked him up, then you didn't roll him out.
Yep, exactly.
So, I mean,
I didn't roll him out, and I regretted it.
You don't want to miss that one again.
Right? No. 2 back-to-back games with 140 yards is no joke.
It's
the only issue is, is this a Mac Jones thing? Because that was his boy on the practice squad. They played together the Pats. That was that rapport. Whereas, Brock Purdy, who knows exactly? It's crazy to think, it should be a better quarterback situation with Purdy, but I don't know that it is. And certainly I don't know if it is for Bourne either. So I'd rather just roll out Dobbins. They should have a good game script against the Giants, but who knows with this Giants team, the way they're playing. Maybe it isn't. Maybe they do roll the Broncos too. Who knows? But I like Dobbins there.
All right, fair enough. Toon says Vidal, Kyron, Rashad White, sit 1, full PPR.
Probably Vidal. He had that huge week, but it was against the Dolphins, so you do have to kind of preface it with that. And Kyron and White have done it. White, the last couple weeks with no Bucky Irving's been just rock solid. Of course, if Bucky's in, you switch this and you go Vidal, but I think he's doubtful, if not already ruled out, for Bucky Irving. So give me Kyron, give me Rashad White there.
Yep. Steelers, Browns, or Chiefs defense?
I kind of like the Chiefs against the Raiders there, especially if Myers and Bowers are both out. Who are they going to have? So I go with the Chiefs there. How about you, Truth?
I also go with the Chiefs, although I get these. They're all decent options. But, I would probably rank them Chiefs, Steelers, Browns.
There you go.
Boswell or Pinheiro?
I'm all about Big D Pinheiro is how I tweeted. I know we have kids watching right now, so I won't spell out what D means. But Pinheiro has been like 14 plus points in 3 straight games. I absolutely love him. Boswell's a great kicker too. Don't get me wrong, Troy, but I'm riding Pinheiro right now.
That's fair.
There we go.
Let's go to Giuseppe. Flex, PPR, DK Metcalf, Kimani, Vidal, or Addison. We can pick one.
It's got to be DK.
I'm taking DK.
Vidal is close there, but again, let me see him do it against someone other than Miami. If I have a great option like DK, who, like we just said, 9 targets when Calvin Austin was out last week, 1 target for the rest of the receiving core. Bengals defense, atrocious. DK seems lined up for a huge night tonight. I love him.
Yeah, this is DK's comeback party kind of.
Yeah, season. Right?
We love. You know how we feel about this. We love this guy. Dylan says, I got Henry for Johnston. Do we like Henry the rest of the season? Interesting. Man, this is a tough one to figure out.
Yeah, because I love Quentin Johnston too, but I think ultimately this is a nice buy low on Henry. You know, Lamar gets back. I do see the Ravens. I know they're 1-7 right now, or 1-6.
I think they're 1-5.
Because it's entering week 7. So 1-5.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Still going like on an 8-game win streak, taking this division. Henry being a key cog in that, and especially the game flow should be a lot better with Lamar. It seems like he's going to be welcomed back to the lineup in week 8, and now you're right back to this offense. The worry with him is like this defense does not improve all year, and you're in these shootouts, and that just doesn't favor his skill set. I think this defense will eventually stiffen up. They stiffened up last week. The offense just wasn't anywhere to be found. So let's say that defense turns it around even half the way they've been, and Lamar's back. I think this is a good buy low on Henry. I like this trade.
I agree. I love Quentin, and I would trade him for Henry. I would just kind of keep my fingers crossed and say, okay, if I'm going to get burned on buying Derrick Henry for pennies on the dollar, okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah, I have Quentin on my team. Like, that's a good way to think of it. If I could pull the trigger and get Derrick Henry right now, I would. There's no doubt.
I would do it, and I love him. Yeah. All right, and this is them explaining how
overseas.
Who we didn't know who C's was. Fatty Mateo, what's up, man? Boys, 6 point per touchdown. Caleb or Jackson Dart? I'm 70-30 favorite. Good for you.
Especially with like the thing that Dart's been doing so well is the leg points. But when you go to a 6-point passing touchdown, that becomes significantly less valuable. And I think Caleb Williams, especially against New Orleans, he's got 3 to 4 touchdown passing upside. And as much as I love Jackson Dart, that matchup against Denver really does. If you're pulling hairs here, I think Caleb Williams is in a spot to smash. You're a favorite already too. It's just a lot safer. Like if one of these guys got swallowed, I think it'd be Dart against the Broncos. I don't think that happens, but Caleb's going to throw 2 to 3 touchdowns on this pathetic New Orleans defense. So I think he's the easy play.
And he might run a little too. Yeah. Agree. And then, all right. So Fatty again says, need 2 wide receivers, full PPR, Evans, McLaurin, Diggs, Myers. Questionable. Let's assume they're all in healthy. Okay. 2 of them. Let's assume they're all healthy.
Evans is the no-brainer if he's healthy and in. And then I think Diggs is probably my next man up. McLaurin, though, against the Cowboys, like that's a really tough one to sit. I think gun to my head, I still play Evans and Diggs and just think Diggs gets back to that true receiver 1 role this week. McLaurin would be very tempting. Myers, either healthy or not, he's not going to be in this conversation for me.
I agree with that completely, and I have both Evans and Diggs, so I hope that we're right. Full PPR, Waller versus Taylor at the tight end.
I feel like Waller's entered that, like, we don't ask questions about him.
I agree. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I agree.
Like, absolutely insane. And I know maybe the reason people are asking questions is the volume has been, we're talking 4, 5, and 3 targets. Like that, he's a little sketchy, but he scored a touchdown in all 3 games, 4 in 3 games so far. I'm going to keep riding that tight end situation. I know the Mason Taylor argument is who else is Fields going to throw to, but my retort to that is, can Justin Fields throw? I don't know. I'm not convinced he has an NFL arm. Like, I know he has his big games. And if Taylor truly is the number 1 option, you don't think defenses can scheme to take away like a mediocre tight end at this point?
Can.
Yeah, I think they can too. I'm going to go Darren Waller. He's just been lights out. Give me him all day.
Caden says half PPR, sit 1. Sutton, BTJ, Debo, or Breece Hall. Interesting. Okay. Who are you sitting?
It's a tough sit because you got Debo in a great spot against the Cowboys. BTJ starting to cook again. Brees Hall getting showcased for a trade maybe, and you got a Carolina matchup. What a pathetic run D that is. So I think that all leads me to benching Sutton, who I really do like, the clear alpha of this offense. But we saw it last week. Like, they can be hit or miss. The Giants secondary is abysmal, though.
It's terrible. Remember that Cowboys game earlier this year?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe it just feels wrong to bench BTJ off his like season high.
That's what I'm struggling with right now.
It comes down to BTJ or Sutton for me on the bench. I have Sutton a couple spots above BTJ in the rankings, so I guess I'll lean into that. But I just feel kind of dirty benching BTJ. It feels like he's just starting to cook. But I also don't trust Trevor Lawrence to like consistently keep that a thing.
I don't either.
So I'm benching BTJ. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with the same two guys you are, and for the same reasons. I mean, it's like, honestly, I would feel a lot better about rolling Sutton out over BTJ if they hadn't just put up 13 points against the Jets.
Yes, but, exactly.
I think I'm benching Sutton and I'm gritting my teeth. I'm a BTJ stan. But yeah, I could see being wrong about this, definitely.
I think the caveat too is like Debo sucked on Monday night, and if he's not fully healthy, if he's still limited all throughout this week,
if he's not healthy, then we play them both, and we're just like, okay, that was the reason. So
yeah, exactly. Like Debo could give us a reason. The Dallas matchup seems too juicy to pass up, but I don't know. As of right now, I'm benching BTJ. Truce benching Sutton. It's a very tough call. Great receiver core.
I don't feel great about it. DJ Johnson, full PPR, pick 3. Ladd, DK, BTJ, Bill, Jordan, Mason. We want 3 of these guys.
I'd fire up DK tonight. I'd play BTJ probably no matter what. And then it, for me, would come down to Bill versus Ladd. If Quentin's in, I play Bill. If Quentin's out, I play Ladd, is probably how I would fire that one up. Although it could come down to like Bill over BTJ even. Like Ladd, I'll say if Quentin's out, Ladd will probably rank as my wide receiver 15 over BTJ. So then it would become Bill versus BTJ, and Bill gets Dallas. That's very tough to avoid. So this is another one where it comes down to Quentin Johnson. The only guy that I'm not considering is Jordan Mason. I do like Mason, but I'm playing DK tonight, no doubt. And then it will come down to Johnston deciding whether BTJ or Ladd's the one. I think Bill and DK are locked into my lineup either way. And then Quentin Johnston's status determines the third. What about you, Truth?
That's fair. I mean, yeah, there's a lot hinging on this Quentin thing with Ladd because we have seen a lot out of him. But the big difference seems to have been Quentin in or out. So, yeah, I agree.
Awesome. We're at the hour and a half mark, so about 30 more minutes to answer your questions, Wolfpack. Thank you so much for being here. Just a reminder, that thumbs up or heart button on Twitter really does help us get out to more people, and any subscriptions to help us climb over 4,700, climb towards 5,000 would be so greatly appreciated. So thank you again so much for all being here. Please do consider hitting that like button and helping us continue to grow. And of course, these rankings will be at rotostreetjournal.com after the show, live and updated for you.
All right. Frosty says, need 2 running backs and a flex, PPR, Chase Brown, Warren, Rico, Keenan, Pittman. 2 running backs and a flex.
It's definitely going to be Rico. And then it is that debate we talked about at the beginning, Frosty. I'm not sure if you were here while we were ironing out the cases. If you want more detail on it, between Chase Brown versus Warren, we have a lot of depth, research, snap counts, all that stuff. For me, it's Chase Brown and Rico for the running backs. And then for the flex, I probably go Keenan. I really like Pittman, though. I'm a big Pittman fan. Fine enough matchup against the Chargers. Down's probably going to be out. So I'm going to go Rico, Chase Brown, and Pittman myself. And bench Warren as the flex that I do like still. But I'm going to go Rico, Brown, Pittman. What about you, Truth?
Yeah, Keenan Pittman's a little bit tough for me. I know Dobbs is questionable. Oh, I might go Keenan over Pittman. Other than that, I agree with you.
All right, fair enough.
Fatty says, full PPR, I need 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. Ladd, Waddle, Brees, Kamara, Mason.
As of this exact moment, it's Waddle for me. Again, if Quentin's out, it's Ladd for the wide receiver. For the 2 flex, actually, you know what? Both are going to be in because you have 2 flexes, Fatty. So I'm going to go Brees, Ladd, and Waddle. And I'm benching Kamara and Mason there. And Tyler, not official, but Evans is practicing. Seems like he's trending to being back. It is a Monday night game, so you do need that backup plan. But his backup plan would be his backup on his real life team. So Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard, or Cameron Johnson, and probably in that order for me.
All right, Frosty, did everyone fall for the Henderson hype? I kind of did. Wasn't he a beast at pass protection in college? But then again, college and NFL are very different. They really
are very different. That's the irony of his downfall was pass protection led to him getting kind of benched, and he was the best pass protecting back like as a prospect in the last 5 years. So it is kind of insane. It is too bad. I think I'm not gonna like wave the white flag and say his season's done. We're only 6 weeks in, and it often takes rookies a while to fully break out. That being said, though, the stubbornness they have defeating Ramondre despite all these fumbles, that seems almost insurmountable. But maybe eventually there'll be a fumble that breaks the back and they finally light up Henderson. I still think he looks good, but he doesn't look as nearly as electric as I was hoping he'd look. So,
I mean,
I fell for it. Absolutely.
I did fall for the hype. I mean, I talked about how I aggressively pursued Chase Brown in my main league auction. I had the same thing with Henderson, but I got outbid and I didn't get him. And I guess right now I'm glad, even though I do think I believe in him.
Yeah,
I bought the hype.
It's crazy because in my guide too, I had him in my first draft as a bust, and I said I'm not taking this guy. Stevens is going to be more involved than you think. And then the more he played in the preseason, the more I was just like, this is a special talent. It's one of those guys that just pops above everybody else. And we just haven't seen that guy since then. And so, I wish I had stayed as bust. I ended up kind of going all in and thinking this guy was going to be a stud. I don't have him in a ton of leagues, though. He's just, it's too disappointing, but I'm not going to quit on him yet. You can't quit on rookies this early.
Chris says, how much longer is Tootin a stash? Buy coming up, do I drop him for Luther Burden?
Oh, Chris, those are two of my favorite stashes. I had that debate this week for myself. Burden's now gone, and I ultimately kept Tootin. I would lie if I said I didn't regret that at all. I kind of wish I had Burden on my bench instead of Tootin. But again, you're going to cut him, and then Etienne's going to get hurt, or Etienne just hasn't looked great these last few weeks. I keep stashing Tootin. Like, could you drop anybody else for Burden? I wish you could. But if DJ Moore is out this week, I'd probably pull that trigger. I think you can get more. It might take Tootin another couple weeks, whereas Burden could walk in this week, go to New Orleans, be the number 2 receiver, look like the next Amon-Ra St. Brown for Ben Johnson, and then it's like you're never getting this guy again. So I'd probably rather have Burden this week if it's one or the other. But could you drop anyone else? Could you drop your kicker and then pick somebody else up after you see what Burden does type of thing? Like that's the ideal. But if it's one or the other, it probably is Burden for me. I still really, really do like Tootin as a stash. I still think he needs some patience.
I agree with the logic. I like George's question here. I feel like I'm kind of trapped into flexing Chase Brown tonight. I love that. I hate that feeling, but I know it well.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
My other options are Terry, Golden, and Bourne. Terry might not play. I don't trust Golden, and Bourne is useless if Kittle/Purdy play. And he's feeling trapped. I get it.
And I get your logic on all these. I think, though, I'm probably waiting this one out. You have some upside options. Terry against the Cowboys, I get it. Like, he might not play. Seems like he's trending towards in. And if he's in, he's
the one I'm eyeing right now. Definitely.
And yes, and if he doesn't play, I don't agree with you that Bourne is useless if Kittle and Purdy play. Like, do I prefer him with Mac Jones and no one else in? Of course. But he's played such great ball, and I do think a lot of it is the Shanahan scheme, the design, and Shanahan trusts this guy right now. So, if your worst fallback plan is Bourne with Kittle and Purdy in, I don't think that's that big of a downgrade. Now, maybe Purdy comes in and it's just like, nope, Jawan Jennings is my guy, Kittle's my guy, and Bourne, you can kiss my ass. I don't expect that. Sorry for the kids if you're watching it. There's this first swear of the day. My apologies on that one. But remember what we used to say, people would be like, I don't like the swearing, and we would just rip off, explain.
And we would just be like, you. Right.
Exactly right. We would say some.
We've mellowed in our old age. Some of us older than others, but yeah, we have.
We certainly have. But I do think if I was in your shoes, George, even if your worst case is Golden, who just emerged for his best game as a pro and really seems to be stepping it up, I just kind of all three of those guys more than feeling trapped into Chase Brown. Maybe you get a touchdown. I don't think you do. And his role is slowly diminishing. I'd rather have one of these receivers in. And I think you got a ton of upside if Terry plays. I think you still have a pretty good option in Bourne, even if Kittle and Purdy are in. And I think Golden, if you're like, no, I don't want Bourne, I think he's dead. Well, Golden's a pretty good option himself. So I'd be benching Chase Brown if I'm you, and I'm sorry if he goes off tonight. But I would feel trapped, and I'd say, you know what? You're not trapping me. I'm going to figure this out later. I got 3 decent receiver options here. I'm not letting myself get trapped there, George.
Don't give up your power.
Don't give up your power. You're not trapped, George. Fight against it.
So we got like 20 minutes to go. Do you want to rapid fire? We got a lot of stuff in the mailbag, or do you want to set a time that we're going to rapid fire?
Let's talk 5 more, and then I'll rapid fire for the last 15.
Sounds good. All right. Chris says pick 2: Rico, JCM, Higgins, PPR.
I'm benching Higgins, no doubt about that one. So we could just rapid fire that one away. The 2 running backs are great spots. Like, give me. Who should
I start? Walker or Gainwell today?
I think I got to lean into the talent of Walker here. And I know I talked about how I don't love Charbonnet vulturing and how this is such a timeshare. I don't love the Houston matchup. This does get tough, actually, because it's like we're looking at 2 committee backs, and one of them faces the team giving up the most points in the league. But Walker's just so talented, too. Like, I really do love Kenneth Walker. I'm going to go Walker. I think he's too good to bench for a guy like Gainwell. But, man, like Gainwell against Cincy does feel pretty juicy today.
Sounds good. All right. Would you drop Chase Brown for Vidal? I would not.
No.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not like, even though I answered quickly, I'm not just like diehard, never. I can't see why you're asking. I would not, but I'm stubborn.
I think I would keep Chase Brown. I would say, like, is there anybody else, Quincy, you can drop? Because
I know, is he really are you really in a situation where this is, I mean, you rank your team top to bottom. My number one guy that I would be dropping, is he really your number one guy?
No, drop Christian Kirk. Like, he follows the
I would way rather drop Christian Kirk.
Drop Kirk, drop Travis Hunter.
I would drop Hunter before I drop Chase Brown.
Like, drop any of those 3 first.
I agree with that completely. Tristan, should I drop Bam Knight for either Spears or Chubb?
I think, Tristan, this depends on what you need. Like, if this is to start somebody, I would keep Bam Knight this week and roll him out. I think he's a decent touchdown option. But if it's like, who's just a better stash on my bench, I like Spears. I think we already saw him play more snaps than Pollard last week. He's got some juice. We've seen that in the past. He's the highest upside guy to me. So
I also like Spears in that situation.
Yeah, perfect. And then we had a couple super chats again. Thank you guys so much for those super chats. Santiago, what do we got?
The family has rolled in, and now the dog is being loud. Jonathan,
you want me to take over, Truth?
Let's do one more. And, everyone's about to walk in the door, so it's about to get pretty loud in here.
Fair
Start
enough.
1 PPR. Diggs, Waddle, or JMO. Also pick 1. Pitts or Mason Taylor.
And just to be clear, I don't know if that's Wandale or Waddle. It could be either. It's a misspelling.
I assumed it was Waddle, but you're right. It could be Wandale.
I'd probably go Diggs either way, whether it's Waddle or Wandale. Waddle, though, if it's Waddle, I actually probably go Waddle.
Waddle's a lot more intriguing than Wandale, that's for sure.
And then I'm going to go Mason Taylor over Pitts. No Pitts for me.
No Pitts for me. All right, I'm going to roll because everybody's back home. But it's been fun, man.
Always a blast seeing you, Truth. Thanks so much. Best of luck in this week. Let's get that season on track, baby.
All right, man. See you later.
See you, brother. All righty. And thank you, Ryan, again for your super chat. I will go into rapid fire mode here. Wolfpack, one last call with 13 of you here for that thumbs up button, the likes, the shares, the retweets. That stuff really does help us grow so much. Nick, let's help you out here. PPR, pick 1. Jacoby Myers, Tee Higgins, Wandale, and Matt Golden. I would be probably rolling Tee Higgins here. Get him in tonight. I mean, Wandale does intrigue me more most weeks, but against Denver, that one seems tough. Alex Amster, start T or Pittman. I like Pittman. It seems like Downs is going to be out, which is already one mouth removed. Pittman's been really solid with Daniel Jones. They had that workout connection, that Breakfast Club style thing all offseason. So I like that, and I would definitely play Swift. I don't think Swift's going to be ruled out, though. I know he's questionable. He's been questionable all year, and you can't bench him after that Monday night game. He was a monster. They really found something in the bye week involving Swift. So I like Swift and Pittman. We can find a backup plan if Swift is ruled out. Maybe Manungai's there, Alex. Good to see you, Alex. I know we used to talk a lot on Twitter. Been busier with the kiddo this year, so I don't know if you've been messaging. I have not been getting the DMs really at all, but good to see you, Alex. Krana Shah. May just wanted some booty, Truth. Truth, I hope you heard that one. May just wanted that booty, baby. Milk God, 25, full PPR. Trade Pickens and Genty for JT. You have Lamb, Sutton, London, and Flowers. So Milk God, you got good depth. This is a hefty price tag, though. Like Pickens and Genty. We're talking a low-end receiver one, low-end running back one for the number one player. I think you have the depth to pull it off. I wish you could do. I mean, I guess when you have Lamb and Pickens, it's like, do you really want both in your lineup? I do. I'm happy with it. I think I'd pull that trigger with your depth, Milk God, but man, I'd like to see, like, could you move Flowers instead? Flowers and Genty, for example. We buy homes near you, 512. Fellas, non-PPR, start one at flex. No PPR. So Diggs, Hendy, Higgins, Mason. Need upside, playing against CD, Mahomes, and Judkins. Whew. Lot of bangers coming at you. I think the highest upside here, especially in a non-PPR, would be Jordan Mason ripping in a couple touchdowns against a Philly team that's given up a few of them. And I know Carter's probably going to be back. That does one player changes the complexion of a run D. I understand that. It comes down to Diggs versus Mason for me. I like Higgins too, but I still, how much ceiling do you have with Flacco? If it's Flacco of 2 years ago, humongous. Hasn't looked that way yet. I'd like to see him look that way before I put in Higgins. Give me Mason there. We buy homes in a non-PPR league. Chase Brown or Jordan Mason? I'm going to go Jordan Mason in that one and hope for some TDs against Philly because they've been getting bled on the ground. We worried about – so, yeah, and you just mentioned that. Jalen Carter, full participant. He should be back. Certainly doesn't help having Jalen Carter in there. Still think you can get there for sure. Forgot about Bourne. He's a flex option too. Levi C. I'll pull back this option. Levi Mia, good to see you if you're still here, guys. You guys are the best. I actually do like Addison and Bourne, assuming Pearsall's out, and especially if Jennings is out, but even if it's just Pearsall, I guess if Kittle is also back, it gets a little trickier if there's Jennings and Kittle, who are both really well established with Purdy. So there's a lot to do with Bourne here, Levi. I'm sure you'll be in the DMs. I'm sure we'll be chatting. Addison's still my favorite, but yeah, as of right now, I actually would go Bourne over Dobbs myself. Jaws seems like it could be a busy deadline, but not sure why some teams don't try to bring in the help earlier. I get that. Yeah, why not get these guys acclimated, especially got a bye week, things like that. Get them going, Jaws. I'm with you. I'm excited to see what happens this trade deadline, no doubt about it. Amelia, trade away Tet, Chase Brown, Vidal for Brees. That is a hefty package, and no, I would not do that because I think Tet versus Brees is like pretty fair, and then you're giving up two decent running backs there, Amelia. So no, I would not do that. Jaylen Warren or Etienne? I'm going to go with Etienne. I know the role seems to maybe be going backwards. I know he hasn't been playing that well, AS. But Warren also is going backwards and near dead even split this last week. Three-headed nightmare potentially. I'm going to go with Etienne even with that great matchup for Warren. Lol, Cade Otton or Mason Taylor? I like Otton there. Even if Evans is in, Otton probably the clear number 2. Good matchup against Detroit. I know Mason Taylor, the clear number 1 only guy for Fields. Still don't buy it. It's not a quarterback I care about being the true number 1 for. And I don't even know if he's the true number 1. And Reynolds is probably that. Scott Tobias, need to start 2. Warren, Rico, and Jordan Mason. For me, Warren's finding the bench, and I am worried about Hubbard cutting into Rico, and I still, Scott, cannot be benching him right now. I think Rico will lead that team. I think it's a great run scheme, and I know they say they're going to have a committee. If Rico keeps looking like the way he did these last 2 weeks, you can't have a committee. Beto Hinosa, need a streamer QB only for this week. Special scoring. Pass intercepted is -2. Pass completed 1. That's a lot for pass completions. I got to go probably with Stroud in that case with that completion rule, Beto. That's definitely an interesting word. Your boy Fletch, need to choose 2 between for flex. Brown, Gainwell, Vidal, Tucker Kraft, and Pollard. I like going with Kraft and Vidal myself. It sounds like you're scared for the Kraft volume. So if that's the case, I'd go Chase Brown over Gainwell or Pollard. But I like Vidal and Tucker Kraft for this one. What up, Bulldog? Do I start Mason or JMO? I'd probably lean into Mason there, unless Aaron Jones is activated unexpectedly. I like Mason there. Ken Walker or Rico rest of the season, BR. That's very, very tough. Both committee backs. Both the number 1 guy technically. I think Rico has the better chance at truly emerging as the clear featured back, as good as Walker is. Charbonnet is a real thorn. Plus, you have the injury concerns for Walker. I guess I go Rico, but that's tough. Thursday question for Dylan Fink. Full PPR. Are we high enough on T tonight to start over Kraft? I like Kraft. I do, and I know the volume's not great, but still scoring touchdowns week in and week out. I like Kraft myself. MJ's running back are JT, Achon, Scatterball, and Vidal. Nice. Wide receivers, Rice, Pickens, Tet, and Olave. Trade away Olave, Vidal for Waddle, Pacheco. I'd be more intrigued to do Olave and Vidal for an even bigger wide receiver upgrade. I think Waddle is just like similar to Olave, maybe a little bit better, but not a Vidal amount better if Vidal is going to keep doing what he did last week, right? So to me, I don't mind packaging some based on your depth, based on what you got. Like, I like the idea of getting a wide receiver upgrade. I think your head's in the right place, MJ. I don't think Waddle's the one that I'm going after here, though. I'd rather get a bigger fish myself. And Pacheco means nothing to me. So, that's kind of why I'm only looking at the receiver part of this. Kraft or Fannin, I'm going with Kraft as much as I love Fannin this week. Rico over Chase Brown. Yeah, I would. I'd keep it going. Casa Bonitas. I want an opinion from you guys. Gave away Chase, Jacobs, and Kamara for St. Brown, Scat, and Breece Hall. I think you should feel pretty happy about that. I love the moves for you. I think I'd rather have St. Brown over Chase the rest of the season, given the quarterback woes. Scatterbo versus Jacobs is pretty close, probably Jacobs. But then I definitely would have Breece Hall over Kamara. So, yeah, well done. Starting Etienne over Chase Brown, I sure am, Nate Perez. Yep, I'm getting worried about the week-to-week diminishing role of Chase Brown. Vols the GOAT, CJ Stroud or Rodgers. I like Stroud there, coming off a 4-touchdown day. Fine matchup this week against Seattle. I know it's a good defense, but they've been very banged up in the secondary. So unless I get all of those guys back, I like Stroud there. Got offered Hubbard and Pacheco for Jaylen Warren. What side? I don't really like any of the sides, but I'd rather the Warren side, I guess. But I don't know if I like any of it, to be honest. What up, Wolf? Do you think I should trade Debo for Flowers? 5-1 trying to get upside players. I mean, the upside with Debo has been rocket sky high. I think Flowers' upside's nice with that defense potentially just being awful all year. Lamar coming back and having to sling, but even still, if you want Flowers to become what Debo's already doing, and like, do you see a huge reason for Debo to regress? Yeah, McLaurin coming back, but Debo fits a different role, different style of player. I'd rather have Debo myself, Apex. Joshua Wilson, is Chase Brown a no-go no matter what? No, he's not a no-go. My running back 22. Like, there's certainly a lot of players I'd play him over. So, no, I think he can be in, but you have to be aware that he's gone under 60% of snaps in back-to-back weeks. He's gone under, 12 fantasy points in back-to-back weeks. It's just very mediocre, but there's worlds where 8 to 10 points are fine. Apex, should I start T? Yeah, I like T over Wandale. The Denver matchup makes me worried. I mean, hey, if Darton and Wandale get it done against Denver, then they're matchup proof and you start them every week, but I am worried about that, yes. Half PPR, do I put at flex Wandale, Pacheco, or JMO? I like JMO, JC. I like that game to shoot out. I love that Monday night atmosphere. Apex, Barner's starter right now. Should I pick up Meyer? I like Otten, and then I like Meyer. Yes, I like both of those guys over Apex. Over Apex. I like Apex more than both. But I like Otten, then Meyer, both over Barner. But Otten first for me. How should I handle this situation? Traded Elick and Rodgers for Dak? I mean, but doesn't process for 48 hours. If I bench Aaron and wait for the trade to go through, I could start Dak. Yeah, start Dak, 110%. Like, why would you start Rodgers? There's no reason for that. And awesome trade. I don't know who would ever do that, but well done. Chubb and Vidal for Derrick Henry? Absolutely balls to go. That's a nice buy low. Which defense do you like better? Green Bay versus Murray, Browns versus Tua, Seahawks versus Stroud or Bears? I like Green Bay versus Murray or Jacoby. I'm there for sure. Kittle or Mason Taylor? Kittle, Cesar. Come on. Kittle's an absolute ace. Let's go. Can you be one solid anytime TD scorer for each team? Asked Mega Brick. I mean, are you looking for solid, like guarantee hits? Or are you looking for solid, like I like the odds? Because I'll tell you the odds I like. I like Noah Fant plus 450 for the Bengals. Call me crazy, but I like to go for the higher odds. I like him, and I like Tee Higgins in that 200-ish range. I also like Kenny Gainwell in that 200-ish range for the Steelers. But if you're like, who do you think is the best shots to hit touchdowns tonight? I think it's DK. I think it's Jamar Chase. Like, if I'm just picking who's going to hit no matter what, I would go DK Chase. But if you want the odds, you want something big, Mega Brick, I like Fant 450. I like Gainwell in that 200-ish range. If you want to get real crazy, you go like Cameron Hayward at plus 1,000. Those are a couple of the TD scores I'd highlight for you. And Wolfpack at 1,350 of you. that wraps up the show. Thank you so much. Please, on your way out, hit that thumbs up button to help your boy continue to grow the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. I saw a lot of new names in the chat. Would love to have you stick around. I'll be live again 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. These rankings will be live at Roto Street Journal. Would love all of you to come and check them out. And, of course, I'm at Roto Street Wolf on Twitter. Thank you for wherever you tuned in. You guys are the best. Hit that heart button and retweet on Twitter for me. Hit that thumbs up on YouTube if you guys enjoyed the show at all. Would really greatly appreciate it. And please go check out, again, rotostreetjournal.com for all of our content. In a world full of fancy sheep, guys, be the wolf. Later.